Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Hades 2 Full Release Edition. And last time, we had our first successful run going up and seeing what happens after you defeat Typhon. And so that was very cool to see, because we basically saw something we were waiting 5.5 to 6 years to finally get the chance to experience. So that was cool. As for what we have in store this time around, I was saying how maybe we're going to mix things up a little bit more. We've been holding back a little bit with these first couple runs. But now, why don't we take a look at this weapon, which has the glowing effect, which means it has the Dark Thirst, giving us +3 bones per location. So we're definitely going to want to use this. It's the staff, and it is, at least this version here, technically the starting weapon. There are several aspects we can choose between, and I've kind of glossed over the aspects to a certain extent in the past, because those, at least for the past 2 runs, because sort of venturing into spoiler territory, but I think for the most part you guys have now seen the big things that have been added with Hades 2, so I think we're kind of taking the spoiler gloves off at this point. And as for what we'd like to do here, I will admit, obviously there are a bunch of different weapons, some of which I have more experience with and generally like more than others. Staff is probably not one of my favorite weapons, or at least haven't really found an aspect that I really like going to. Maybe the aspect of Monoi, which just gives us a straightforward damage boost for our special. It gives us extra max magic as well, which makes it a little bit easier for us to use our charge-up moves. And we have aspect of Circe, which is interesting. It gives us the chance to basically use 2 casts at once with the help of our familiar, and creates a little damaging beam between us and our familiar, which sounds really cool, and it can be cool. Problem is, it does rely a little bit on our familiar cooperating with us positionally, and we can't directly control that, so it can be a little bit frustrating at times. With the aspect of Momus, which gives us charge-up moves, making them even stronger than usual. They do an extra blast. We can upgrade all these. As you can see, they have various different rank numbers. 5 is the maximum, so this is maxed out already, whereas this one is a little bit lower down. I think this one benefits a lot from being upgraded, because it makes the extra procs of that charge move more frequent, and mathematically speaking, especially with subsequent levels, that's going to start to get quite significant. Then we have the aspect of Anubis, which I've tried several times before. This one is the most spoilery, so I won't go into too much depth on this. It's very different, and I do not like it. I've tried it. It's very strange. Takes a lot of getting used to, and I'm not a fan. So I'm thinking it's going to be one of these 3, and maybe we do try the Psychic Leash here. Which, if we go to this spot, this is actually where we do the upgrades, and you can see basically all the ones we've yet to upgrade cost Nightmare. You get that from engaging with the other thing that we've kind of been glossing over thus far, which is the fear system, which is the way that you can optionally increase the difficulty of the game, kind of similar to the heat system in Hades 1. It's basically going to give us various ways in which we can make the run more difficult. You can see all the various modifiers here, and that plus number with a skull next to it indicates how many extra fear that is worth. So most of them give +1, but in some cases, if it's something really significant, like the first boon in a region is a red onion instead, so it basically negates the first boon in every region, that's worth a lot. Then there's also this Vow of Rivals at the bottom, which is in many ways the most significant of the various fear systems, because you can upgrade this several times.
This I vow.
And the amount that it gives you for that fear value, as you can see, it says 12 down at the bottom there with the little bar, or in the middle-ish of the screen, I suppose. It increases how much of that it gives you with each subsequent upgrade, whereas most of these, it's a flat number. Even if you can upgrade it multiple times, it's always going to be an incremental 1 point, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure I've necessarily tested out with every single one of them, but this one is very interesting. Also does go a little bit into spoiler territory, so maybe we'll go a little bit light on this one for now. But big picture is, it gives you an alternate, more difficult version of a boss. And so if you do just 1 round of this, then it's a harder version of the first boss. Then do it a second time, it's the first and the second ending floor boss that becomes more challenging. Third, and then if you fully upgrade it, then the 4th and final major boss becomes more challenging. So this is a pretty big deal in terms of how difficult it is, and in terms of how much of the fear value it gives you. And you may have noticed in the top left corner there where it says Testaments, and it has what are sort of grayed out icons with some of those skulls next to them, and again, a number for each of them. Basically, that is how the game is going going to determine whether you are going to get a reward for increasing the difficulty of the run. So yes, it is optional. You could completely ignore it. But if you are, for example, taking the staff as we currently have, you'll see each of these 6 little icons, one of which is lit up, but the others are grayed out, represents each of the weapons. So in the top left corner, you have the torches, which is a weapon we haven't used yet as of the full release at least. You have the axe to the right of that. Then you have the skull, which we used somewhat recently. And then continuing clockwise, so going down to the bottom right corner, you have the blades. Then to the left of that, you have the staff. That's the one that's lit up right now. And then bottom left would be the black coat. So the icon that's lit up here is based on which of the weapons you're using. And the number that you see in this case, there's a 10 next to that purple skull. That means that we would have to reach 10 fear in order to get the reward for this particular weapon. So you'll notice in some cases, some weapons have much higher numbers than others. That's because I've either used some weapons more than others, used them with more fear than I have with other weapons, or just have generally had more success with those weapons. Because basically, if you get the bonus with a particular weapon on that run, then next time round, you're going to have to reach a higher threshold. So that's how the game is going to push you to continue increasing the difficulty if you want to pursue this. And the reason for doing it is because it will give you one of the key crafting resources. In fact, it is the primary source of Nightmare, which is this upgrade material we're seeing we use for most weapon aspects. Usually the initial unlock is going to take some random variety of things, but then any subsequent upgrade is going to require either 1 or 2 Nightmare to upgrade it further. And the other thing is the particular enemy that you see a little picture of there, that determines who you need to defeat, how far you need to get in the run to receive that reward. So basically, in this case, if we are taking the staff, we need at least 10 fear. In this case, we currently have it set for 12, so that's technically a little bit overkill, but that's beside the point. And we need to defeat Cerberus. So in some cases, the boss is going to vary. It could be a boss from the surface, it could be a boss from the underworld. It could be the first boss, it could be the last boss, it could be anything in between. So those will change randomly from one run to the next. If, for example, you're looking at this and you say, oh, well, I really don't want to have to do a 10 fear run and defeat Cerberus. That means we have to get pretty far down. Maybe we wait until that's the first boss. It also is a way to kind of encourage you as a player to start going in different directions or trying out different things. But as for what we have planned this time round, I think rather than going all in on all that stuff, because I have made a decent bit of progress on these things from early access. As you can see, at least with the staff, 10 fear is pretty high. It's not pushing the absolute limits, but that took some effort to get to that point on this weapon. And as I said, the staff is not a weapon that I'm a huge fan of, so for that reason, I'm thinking we're going to take it a little bit easier on that front for now, and instead maybe get a little more experimental. So let's go Aspect of Circe here for the Psychic Leash. Gives us extra cast potential and that extra damage over time that could actually become pretty significant. So that's a source of damage you would usually just not have access to at all. And we could potentially upgrade it one more time here. It does cost 2 Nightmare, so it is a little pricey. But you know what? We'll give it a shot.
True power of the great enchantress.
So now that is maxed out at rank 5. And the other thing that I was thinking of was because this is the one that is going to make us do 2 casts, as you can see. One where we're standing, one where our ally, our familiar, is standing. And then here's the leash, that little laser beam connecting between us and our familiar. It is important where our familiar is standing. And some of the familiars, which we've also kind of just brushed over for the most part as of late, their behavior does differ, and their bonuses do differ as well. So we've been using Golly thus far for at least all of our full release runs, and I do really like using Golly. Just because I kind of glossed over it before, I'll go over everything that she does do. She occasionally will block damage up to 3 times per floor. When she does, we don't take damage from that hit. She does damage, and also gives us some passive bonuses for dodge and movement speed, and also makes it so we're more likely to find a particular type of resource. So for the most part, every familiar has sort of a different variety of all those sorts of things. Like each one will have a different type of gathering resource, different type of craftable material that they'll help you collect. But I have been using a lot of Golly as of late, and I think there is a prophecy for completing a run with all the familiars, and I actually haven't finished a run with you, Hecuba, the doggo yet. And so the way that she works is occasionally stun surrounding foes for 1 second. So another more defensively oriented familiar. Some of the other ones are a little more offensive. Occasionally we'll dig up snacks, which give us a little bit of healing, or spirit bubbles, which restore magic. Gives us max magic as a bonus and makes it more likely for us to find diggable resources rather than ones that we just pick up directly off the ground, which is what we get from Golly. So those are the bonuses you can get from this familiar. It is possible to give treats to your pets and make them stronger in the process. Uses this resource here, which we actually have more of than I realized.
Here you go, Hecuba.
So why don't we use one, and we can make Hecuba a little bit stronger, so we can get more max magic at the beginning. We can make it even more likely for us to find those crafting resources, or we can make the stun effect more frequent. Don't think the crafting resource one is going to be a huge difference maker for us, because we've been doing a lot of Hades 2 runs already, so I think we're kind of stocked up on those things. And so leaning toward one of these two. Sometimes having a lot of max magic can be really helpful. We have a lot of charge moves we're trying to use, but I'm intrigued by the stun effect. No, we'll go magic. We'll go magic. I feel like the stun effect, if you upgrade it multiple times, and I think many of these abilities you can upgrade multiple times, later on, that could become quite significant. But with just a 1 or 2 upgrades, maybe the magic is a little more meaningful in the short term. So, okay. As for what we're looking for here, I think gold purse, hard to say no to that. If we wanted even more max magic, we could go with the silver wheel. But don't know that we need to go all in on that. But okay, I think we are basically good to go here. We have our newly upgraded aspect, which is pretty interesting. And yes, this doggo seems to chase, well, I mean, keeps pretty close to us. So, behavior-wise, pretty mobile. Which could either be a good thing or a bad thing for this psychic leash, depending on how you look at it. It might even be better if we just had someone who is stagnant, so we can load up on tons of damage, but it does make it easier for us to move where the psychic leash is, and also move where the second cast is. So, yeah, I don't have a ton of experience with this aspect. I think only maybe done 1, possibly 2 runs with it before. But we'll give it a shot, and my hope is that we can complete a run with Hecuba, because technically, apparently, we have not yet done that. So, I think for this one, rather than going crazy on all the fear, we'll go one more run with little to no fear. Hopefully, that gives us a strong chance to see this one all the way through, and we can experiment more with this newly upgraded aspect, and hopefully get Hecuba across the finish line. So technically that means that it doesn't really matter if we go up or go down. We have the choice, whereas if we were to go all in on the fear, then suddenly it would say we want to go down to Cerberus, but we'll keep it simple for one more run, I suppose.
Farewell, Commander.
And we'll get this one started, and I suppose it does also depend a little bit upon, which weapon has the bonus bones grave thirst effect, so that basically causes a whole bunch of domino effects. So if you're picking that weapon, then that is going to determine which direction you want to go, how much fear you want to have, and so if all those things don't quite line up the way you like, then, fair enough, you can swap it around a little bit and not get a fully optimized run for all the bonus rewards, but that's okay, we're still getting bonus bones, if nothing else, and hopefully getting the reward for defeating Kronos, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
To Mum and Dad face to face. Not even I get to do that much. Must have been right nervous meeting them. Or mayhap not, considering what you did to get there.
Alright, well that was the big thing that we were waiting so long to do. Through all of Hades 1 and Hades 2 even, of course. Okay. So let's see. We really want to have a strong cast. That's going to be probably top priority on this run. I do like Hephaestus's cast. Is this the first time we've seen Hephaestus as of the full release? It might be. In general, his deal is going to be boons or skills that hit really hard once, but then have a long cooldown before they can give you that bonus damage again. So it's a little... it's quite different than what many other boon-giving gods and goddesses do in that way. It's a bit slower, chunkier damage, burst damage in that way. That could work with a double cast, although I just wish this was higher rarity. It's kind of an awkward rarity here. There's one above common, so we can't upgrade it very easily later on. think we probably pass on that. Let's do dash. It's very hard hitting dash. As you can see there, that was just me running into them that dealt that damage. And let's check out the leash. The leash works. At least for now. Okay, and then head on here. No option to go in any other direction. I think what we basically want to do is use the leash with a cast as soon as we enter into basically any room. Oh, I did get hit by the little brambles that this guy creates. Let's do this again. I suppose I also did not necessarily make a point of demonstrating what all the basic skills... Did I show what all the basic skills are like on this weapon? I'll do that after this. Okay, so in case I forgot to do that, because I might have. It also gives us a little bit of max life. Basic attack, which actually does have more range, a little bit more range than a lot of the other weapons. So that is one of the bonuses, one of the benefits of this weapon. It's a little bit slow. It's kind of middle of the road speed-wise. It's not the slowest. Then we have the cast, which normally would be just a standard cast. However, with this specific aspect, we are making a cast both where we are and where our doggo is, and then we create that leash, as we were saying before. And then our special is that, which... Did they change how that one works? They might have changed that. This is the charge special. They definitely did. Or am I thinking of this? Oh, I'm thinking of that. That's why. Okay. That's the charged attack that I just did. So we do have, especially if we use charge moves, a fair bit of range with this setup. And then maybe with the casts, combined with the leash, that gives us some decent...
Dig, please, Hecuba.
Short range damage potential as well. And here is Hecuba giving us a little bit of bonus value from the digging resources. Okay, so we can go either Selene or extra monies. I think we will go Selene first here. As we saw in the previous run, we went very heavy on the Selene stuff, and it worked very well for us. There's the stun from Hecuba, which, as I said, I just hadn't really seen much of. Let's see just what the range is like on this. Because if it can more or less hit people from the opposite side of the arena, that is very good defensively. So I do like that. Okay. I have to think a little bit about how we want to approach this run strategically with our boons, but
I draw you down, O moon.
I meant to gift to you again. Oh well, I forgot for the second time in a row.
Must remember the bitter taste of defeat, yet he does not relent. Thus, he has left us with no choice but to pursue the means of his annihilation, little star.
You say it so calmly and kindly like that, but... Annihilation! We need to absolutely eviscerate our foes! Okay. So, these are our three options from Selene, and there's no icon next to them to suggest that they are duoable with Hephaestus, at least. So that is not currently a factor. However, if we happen to remember, / already know, what hexes can be paired with which gods and goddesses, and that could help us to figure out what we want to prioritize going forward. So we have Total Eclipse. Your hex blasts a large area for a huge chunk of damage, but it has a big delay before it hits. I do like this one, however, it is sometimes hard to get it to hit, because you're aiming somewhere, and if the enemy moves in the span of 4 seconds, you're probably going to miss, or you might hit something that's not quite as significant as your original target. If we could find some ways to freeze enemies, like with our double cast, could make it a little bit easier to crowd control our way to set that up. So that, I wouldn't rule that out. Otherwise, Hex launches a heat-seeking projectile that inflicts Morph on up to 5 susceptible foes, which is the one that makes them turn into harmless critters for 4 seconds, which we saw but turned down last time. This is the one that we took last time, Night Bloom, which raises the last susceptible foe and turns them into a minion of yours, which, alongside the leash that we have from our weapon aspect, would be kind of hilarious to just go all in on the sort of necromancer summoner approach. But since we did this last time, I think we will probably turn it down. However, that being said, the duo Selene boons are one of the most recent things that were added, at least in early access. It did exist in early access, but it was only added a couple months ago or so. So I have not yet seen which of these hexes are paired with all the various gods and goddesses. Obviously, I remember which one gets paired with this, but I don't know which ones get paired here, or might have had this. I don't remember which one it was that went alongside it. So basically, that is to say, I don't know if we're going to be able to retroactively get the duo-ness on this hex like we did last time around, but maybe we'll try Total Eclipse, because as I said, I feel like combining this with this means we can more easily slow the enemies down to set up a humongous meteor. Okay, so now we have the option of either going with a palm or max life, and the tricky thing with the palm is we only have one boon to upgrade, and I think I remember, for the most part, these Hephaestus boons that do big bursts of damage but have the cooldowns, the thing that gets upgraded with the palms is not the damage, it's the cooldown. So, it's not bad, but it's maybe not what you would otherwise have expected. I think I might still go for the heart here. Ooh, and that's a chaos room. These guys are armored. Another one of these guys.
Got you.
Oop, I see the brambles. There we go. Okay, so we get the heart. That gives us 25 max life, and it was basically worth 125 gold if you want to use that as the metric versus 100 gold worth of value from the palm. Ooh. Ooh, okay, so we have a mini shop here. Don't currently need the life, although technically if we're about to step into that Chaos Gate, we are going to take a little bit of damage when we do so. So we could heal off a little bit of that. But we could also guarantee greater rarity on our next boon, and I believe that would apply to this Chaos room. And fortunately, these next rooms that we would skip if we were to go into Chaos, they're not especially rewarding. But I feel okay about passing those up. I think we will go Yarn of Ariadne.
All right.
Probably just that. Yeah, I think we can pass on these. We do have a fair bit of gold because of the keepsake we took, but let's hop in. This is a fairly early Chaos. In general, the earlier Chaos appears, the better, because it means you can more safely get the boon to evolve before dangerous encounters, and obviously, once it does evolve, you have the positive effect for longer.
Digging spot there.
I don't remember ever.
Nice.
Okay, yes, I have seen these in the Chaos room before. I was gonna say, have we ever gotten that particular resource in Chaos? In general, Chaos rooms, of course, are fairly rare, and the crafting resources in them, therefore, are quite hard to come by. But let's see what we can get here.
Recently achieved despite Typhon's comparatively different size and strength. How interesting that the smallest beings often prove to be superior. Is my conception of strength incorrect?
Remember, Chaos is technically the being that created everything. Okay, I'm not sure. No, this did not proc the Yarn of Ariadne, so I guess technically that only applies to a more standard boon from a god or goddess. Okay, next 4 encounters, we take more damage. Afterward, our attack deals more damage. Next 2 boons are limited to common blessings, but afterward we gain a pretty sizable amount of bonus gold. Every time we special, we take 4 damage. Afterward, our sprint and movement is 20% faster. I think I like this the most. The common blessings, it's unfortunate, but we could potentially end up upgrading one of them with the Narcissus keepsake, although if we have 2 common boons, we can't guarantee which one it's going to be. But getting bonus gold early on in a run just gives you so much time to accumulate the dividends from that bonus gold, so I think the timing is such that this makes a lot of sense. Okay, now for this should give us a free palm slice, whereas this would give us a free flat 5 life. I think we definitely go Palm Slice here, and that means, again, we only have one upgradable boon. We will, one way or another, end up getting the improved cooldown time for our dash boon. I was gonna say, as soon as everything kind of froze for a second when I went in, I thought something might have been up. And the hunt is on. I think we've seen this as of the full release. If not, though, then you're about to understand what this is all about. Probably be doing a little bit more of that. Oops. And sure. Oh, the stun from our familiar also helps a lot with landing our hex. I did not remember I did not remember this hex leaving a lasting crater on the ground once you use it. That's pretty funny. Oh, it does eventually go away. Okay, sure. So yes, this is Artemis.
Ask, but have you picked up any trace of Zagreus by any chance while in your father's house?
We did indeed.
Artemis, it's hard for me to say. My brother isn't there, but I sense his presence. Our connection. He's not gone.
Yes, it's not exactly clear what his deal is, but we're able to communicate with him in a very strange way.
I guess that's good enough for me for now. Although it's much more cryptic than I'd like. Well, wherever he is, he better be alright. And not alone.
Now that we don't know. Okay, so we do get an extra boon from Artemis, and Artemis's deal in Hades 2 is generally crit. Unfortunately, we have a bunch of low rarity stuff here. This is another one that I would have loved to have had the Yarn of Ariadne trigger for. Wait, what? Where'd it go? There's no way it was triggering for Chaos, because I still saw it in the bottom corner. And we only saw 2 options be higher rarity for that. And if it is applying here, well, everything's common rarity, so what gives? I don't know, we might have gotten shortchanged on that one. But our options are, after we dash, our charge moves may deal critical damage for 2 seconds. It's 8% critical hit chance. And at least, to start off with, if we do get a crit, it has plus 200% damage. There are some other Artemis-related boons that may be able to increase that more. But unlike some other games, by default, we will typically not have any crit chances. Unless there's like one weapon aspect and one familiar that can give you sort of a passive crit chance. Minor spoilers, I suppose, there. But, okay. So that one, I think that crit chance is actually kind of high, at least for a common rarity boon, but it's conditional, which is why we're getting a little bit of bonus there. Foes with at least 80% health or 80% armor may take critical damage. That's an even higher number. So we can get a big hit or two very early on in an encounter. Excuse me. But otherwise, once we've already damaged an enemy a fair bit, it's no longer really going to be the case. Piercing arrow fires toward any foe damaged by your charged cast. It's only 50 damage for a charged cast. I saw a cast and I thought, well, that's going to be a good fit for us, because that's what we want to be focusing on. But it's not the base cast, it's only the charge cast. That takes extra time to do, and that number just is not high enough for that to feel meaningful. You know what? I think we re-roll this.
Not what I want.
Well, you're particular.
That we are. This we saw before. Foes in our casts may take critical damage from our attacks. So we lead with the cast, and then go into attack. That gives us a 10% crit chance, otherwise, just across the board, any damage can be critical, and this has a much lower percent because this is always going to be active. But I feel like this is generally going to be the case. I think we can go for that.
Steady out there.
So thank you, Artemis. So that is another, we sort of mentioned this a little bit at the end of our previous run, but technically that is another goddess that we actually do meet directly in person, whereas most of the time that is coming just via boons, which are technically messages we are using to remotely communicate with people, and those are just one-way messages for the most part. We do this, and then That upgraded our dash, which I think, yeah, previously had a 9-second cooldown for that 200 damage. Now it's an 8-second cooldown. Now we can mine some of these resources, this silver. And we can also... Oh, that gave us a free fire boon. Or at least it counts as a fire boon, as we were talking about a little bit last time. We don't have a full-blown boon that's actually giving us direct value. It just means that if we have an infusion that gives us bonus value based on the number of boons of those various elements you see at the top, it counts as us having one more fire boon. And now we can compel this shade. And you saw there weren't that many, so that gives us Psyche. There weren't that many of the Pokey Pokey Simon Says things that we had to do for that one, which actually means that they're going to be slower. You're going to have to hold each one of them for longer. Whereas if there are a bunch of them, that means that each individual one is going to be much quicker. Just a little tip for you to prepare yourself mentally for doing those. Okay, so we have a mini-boss here. It's either Apollo or it's Zeus. As I said, I do not know which god or goddess our hex is technically going to combine with. I know that it's not Apollo, though. So I do remember which one Apollo combines with, and that's the one that I've taken the most often. So it may be Zeus. And since we don't yet have any precedent for either of these guys, I feel like maybe this is, in a vacuum, a good reason for us to go Zeus. Oh, wait, I remember why we had the Yarn of Ariadne doing that. Because it was actually a horrible combination to go alongside our Chaos Boon. It was the Chaos Boon that made that happen. I was going to say, this is actually a very convenient time to have this Psychic Leash. And also for us to occasionally damage you with our dash, but now that you are armorless, this becomes much easier. Please lock on to the enemy that I'm trying to target. Okay. Once this enemy is armorless, you can stun lock them, and it becomes very easy to take them out. The problem is that there are still other little tail-like things that you saw it summon, and those can certainly deal damage to you too. And so, after I got rid of the armor on the main enemy, the only one that you technically need to kill, I tried to walk away and use this to hit more safely from range while also stun locking, but the game insta-stun locked you onto one of the other minor enemies over here. So I didn't stun lock them and took more damage than I would have liked for that reason, which is a little annoying because that wasn't really directly under my control. But anyways, here we go.
I must admit, young lady, I had my doubts about you coming all this way to lend your aid. We ought to be capable enough to drive back Typhon on our own. But our latest battle with him might have gone differently if not for you.
Yeah, says the guy who was trying to fight Typhon by himself, but needed us to finish the job. Okay, so this is going to be the last boon that is guaranteed to be common rarity. So yeah, if I had remembered that we picked up the Yarn of Ariadne, then it may have been reason to not take the Chaos boon that we took. So we ended up burning, what was it, 70 gold, somewhat completely unnecessarily. But alas, so be it. Okay, so let's see. We do not yet have a cast boon, but our casts could cause lightning bolts to repeatedly strike one foe at a time in the binding circle. Don't remember, this might actually be a secondary Zeus boon rather than his primary Zeus boon for a cast. So it has the binding circle, which means we can throw the cast wherever we want it. We don't need to have it be right on top of us, which actually could be really useful for this particular weapon aspect, making it more possible for us to really optimize the double casts. On the other hand, common rarity on what is going to be our most important boon, or potentially a supporting secondary boon for our most important type of skill, this is really important that we get a high rarity, so I think we do kind of need to pass on that. So, I think this is the worst option here, the Revenge boon, but I am deliberately taking it, because we know it's going to be common rarity. So now we can go back to getting high rarity stuff, so any future Yarn of Ariadne would be nice, and I suppose, in some ways, the Chaos boon will eventually pay off for that Yarn of Ariadne. In fact, will immediately pay off for that Yarn of Ariadne with the bonus gold that we get from this room here. Obviously, still in hindsight, it would have been better to have just not purchased it, but alas, here we are.
Hold still.
We may have been able to hit that mini-boss with our Hex. I don't remember if we had gotten far enough yet for the Hex to be usable, because we do have a little bit of passive Hex charge up. These Banshee-like enemies are annoying. But yeah, I do like the range that our special has, but I have not changed the targeting. I did not change the direction we were facing, and you saw it change who it was going after there. So it does kind of have a mind of its own in terms of who it hits. That was our Hex hitting, which was slow enough that it was originally targeted at basically everyone. Not sure if it hit anyone, though. So that's now worth 185 gold, which is a lot. Nothing else here. So yeah, we've now taken more damage than I'd like to be taking at this stage, to be honest with you. We do still have a little bit of healing every time we walk into a new room. However, I have probably gotten a little bit spoiled by the other familiar that we had been using, who blocks a few instances of damage on each floor, which definitely adds up and is easy to just take for granted. So not having that now, it's a bit of a reality check in a way to see, okay, how much was that bailing me out in the past? I think, yes, this gives us a little bit of bonus life. This gives us a little bit of bonus magic. I do think the bones are a lot more meaningful once we get back to town for crafting purposes, though. So maybe we go this route. Oh, the lighting was darker than usual, and that made me suspicious that there was going to be something else going on in this area. But then I was skeptical, because I was like, oh, we've already seen Artemis. How many bonus things are we really going to get here? And this is a little shield that we can get if we whoop, step in that circle, at least initially. Oops, I thought I had enough range to hit you. There we go. Fortunately, these guys, we can basically just very safely hit from a distance. You, however, a little more complicated to deal with. And now, getting a little more stuff going on here. Probably should have used that against the tree-like enemy who stands still, making him a very easy target for that. You. Ooh, hold on. Nope, don't do that. So yeah, we still don't have much in the way of things that directly increase our damage, because our only direct damaging boon right now is a revenge boon.
Hecuba.
It would require us to get hit and a dash.
Appreciate the help.
Get this mostly for the extra bones. Okay, definitely eyeing the hammer here. We do have the option to do this. If we don't take any damage, then we can get extra Selene points. This will be an armored enemy with an extra modifier or two that's unusual, and it's a question of how much damage do we have and how safely can we do that damage, which is a little awkward with our current setup, because as I said, we don't have a great primary source of damage, but we'll give it a shot.
Foe to me.
Swifter Spiller. I don't know what those mean, but I hate the smoke cloud. I also hate that you seem to have an invulnerability aura. And I'm not sure what the deal is with that. Ooh, okay. Yeah, the fact that you can charge attack us, and you have this smoke cloud. There's no way we're getting this. And he has the invulnerability. There's no way we're getting this. I'm just going to be honest with you. Unless we can get you stuck there when you're not invulnerable, and then you move. How dare you? Yeah, that was pretty much our only shot. He's gonna hit us with one of those things eventually. Just a matter of time. And it seems like he's immune when he is at range. So this is either gonna be the world's slowest fight, or we're just gonna have to accept the fact that we're not going to succeed. Possibly both of those things. If we wait long enough, we will get another one of those hexes soon. I want to keep you here, if possible. You're... Nope. Oh, we already missed. Okay. Okay, it's mostly just charging up slowly over time. Hex. I'm not really spending magic, which I suppose I could do here. Does do a little bit of damage that way. Once we get rid of his armor, then he's stunnable, and then that becomes a huge difference maker, but since we don't really have a reliable way to damage him besides little pokey damage. Please get hit by this. No, we just missed. Ooh, and I'm eventually gonna get caught in a corner like that. I can't use the charged cast if we already have a normal cast on the ground. What we really want is... wait for the Hex. Ooh, I got caught on something I did not expect to get caught on. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this. I think it's that order that we really want. Except I think it hit him, but he had the invulnerability, which is another thing that we kind of anticipated could happen. He does also have a multi-hit combo, which we're not really seeing, because for the most part I'm dodging out of the way after his first hit, but... yeah, so you'll see why now I was not especially keen on trying this out. So I knew that if we were truly trying to do it, that it would probably end up looking something like this. And so we're kind of in this weird place where, yes, I could attempt to get more aggressive and then just waste this this long attempt. There we go. Okay, at least that one landed. Sizable chunk of damage. Still not enough to get rid of the armor though. So yeah, I could rush this and then potentially negate all these efforts. Ooh, that was bad. It's facing the wrong direction. Or I could continue to try to play this more safely, and maybe it still pays off. Oh, he was shielded for that. Wonderful. Ooh, there's the dash, which was very risky, and not really intended, but... oh well. There we go. Oh, he's so close to being armorless, but he's not quite there. Now I think he's armless. Yeah, it said break. Okay, so theoretically now we can just do this. Okay, it did work.
Washed in moonlight.
But that's why sometimes, even if you can get these done, doesn't always mean that it's the most pleasant experience.
Manifest your desire.
Okay, but it is basically a free 3 points for Selene. And let's see, you... make the Hex fire an additional blast after 2 more seconds after the big burst. Does make it cost more. We can't get there yet, but we can make progress toward that if we think that's good. Otherwise, after using our Hex, foes in the target area take more damage. Whenever the Hex strikes a Guardian, so a big boss, your next Hex charges up by 30. Which is not even enough to negate the extra cost from this. So, not well than that. Give it more power. I think the passive abilities here are going to be a fairly big deal for this one. Larger area makes it much easier for it to land. I thought there was one that makes it land more quickly, or that makes additional explosions in another sort of circle around, which makes it, again, easier to hit. Starts up more charged up. That, I think, would be somewhat significant for this one. Because this one does take a little bit of time to power up. It's more or less the same, regardless of which direction we go. It's going to be larger area. Oh no. This one has power, this one has damage in the rest of the encounter. Oh no, this has additional charge up. This one has additional power. Take your pick. I think it's probably more a matter of which one of these we want to be on the same side as. I think the answer is probably this one. We can, if we really want to, get the extra charge up there. Let's go. More power, more damage, larger area. So, don't know that that's amazing stuff, but it does help us progress further on the Selene side, and maybe subsequent Selene boons will now be even better still. There's a more basic version of this enemy. The one that we were just fighting a whole bunch. Did have armor, but doesn't have the extra smoke cloud and whatnot that time around, thankfully. There's the Festus dash damage. Okay, that's not really enough range to be doing what I wanted to do. Hey guys. Adios. Oh, hey, we're not the last ones, but we do now have, I think we still got a little bit of bonus damage for the rest of this encounter now. Pardon me. Yeah, I think these guys are the easy targets at least for our Hex. And the Hephaestus dash actually does have an AoE, as you saw there. It is possible for it to hit multiple enemies at once. They do need to be fairly close together. Now, armorless, and now you're dead. And now hammer upgrade could be a big deal. I think cast would be the big thing we're looking to upgrade here. Attacks have flat 30 additional power. That is a lot. Dash strike hits in a larger area and does huge damage to armor. Attacks are 50% faster. Everything is an attack. Ah. Didn't we get something that made it so that after hitting with our cast... Oh yeah, foes in cast may take critical damage from attack. So technically we want to go cast and then attack, so I guess it's not the worst thing in the world. I think flat damage is probably... I know this has the icon meaning that we haven't taken it before, but I think this is the best option for us. Because getting flat damage, I think, would work the best mathematically when you multiply it by an extra 200% damage from the crit. Okay. But still probably would have preferred cast-related things. Yeah, I think we'll go back for more bones, because that will help us buy more Nightmare from the Wretched Broker, which, since we are not using a setup this time round that is going to give us any Nightmares, it's sort of a way you can help make up for that. Taking the bonus bones weapon, plus a few bones-related rooms, and I don't think it's quite enough in and of itself to get you to that threshold, but it might be kind of close. That was, speaking of kind of close, I was kind of hoping I was going to charge up more quickly. Now it feels like it's a little bit of a waste. Ooh, hello. There we go. So yeah, it is definitely still something we can set up fairly well with our cast, just from the base cast. I would really like to have a powerful cast to work with there.
Mine.
Okay. And now... Hold on. Oh, this is the penultimate room, isn't it? Yeah. So we can either go shop or we can go Hermes. Hermes would be free in this case, and he does have some boons that give you a lot of value if you get them early on, except that in the shop, with a bunch of money and the potential to earn a lot more money over the course of this run, courtesy of this Chaos boon, we can potentially buy multiple things here, which would be nice. So I'm a little conflicted here, but we obviously don't know what we're going to see here. We do already have that Chaos boon that is kind of filling the role of what an early Hermes boon could do, but you know what? I think the timing is such that it's still worth giving this a go. There will be no enemies in here, and it doesn't cost anything to pick up this boon, hence the quote-unquote free Hermes boon.
Prometheus and Heracles, turns out they're close, are they? Your little spat with them was shrouded by the dark, but I caught glimpses of it here and there. I need to know about these things, though doesn't mean I'll tell.
It's the god of messengers. Channel your charge cast faster, and your cast expires faster. So this is an interesting one. This is obviously very cast-oriented. It means it becomes much easier to use our charge cast. However, because the casts expire more quickly, they don't last very long. In some cases, that actually is a good thing, because there are some casts that give bonuses when they expire, and in other cases, casts you more or less want them to stay active for a long period of time. So it's a pretty important sort of build decision that we want to make. Are we a quick cast or a long ongoing cast type of build? And what makes the most sense with this? I feel like you might prefer the longer duration casts, especially if you combine that with the Hex, which takes a long time to land, so we want to be slowing enemies down with a long duration cast for the most part. I know that is the highest rarity, but I don't think it's the best choice. This is really good. Nitro Boost, I wish it was a higher rarity, but it's one of the ones that may not look like it, but I think does give you a ton of value, especially the earlier on you get it, which is, again, why I was prioritizing Hermes a bit, because you can block 2 hits per encounter over the course of the entire run. That's going to add up to a lot of damage avoided. And it also makes us sprint faster, which helps us to avoid damage in another way. Otherwise, this is sort of like a bit of a safer way to get a similar thing to Winner's Circle, but I think Nitro Boost is still the way to go here. Okay, but it does still mean we have very little in the way of direct damage dealing boons for this upcoming boss fight with Hecate, but that's alright.
To the abyss of the subconscious I descend. Remember well those words, and those that follow, lest the thrill of battle cloud your memory.
It sounds like that could be her giving us a secret sauce to unlock something.
To the abyss of the subconscious I descend. Night and darkness guide me to my blood beyond the grasp of time.
What is the significance of this? Because it sounds like this is important.
A potent prayer. Although here it shall avail you not. Perhaps you soon shall have the opportunity to make the invocations in proper place and time.
Okay, so yes, occasionally you will have conversations with people in a run where they'll say things like this. It will eventually allow you to unlock new things, but we'll have to head back to town in all likelihood before that becomes an option. Okay, but here is Hecate. I'm curious how much we can use the Psychic Leash to deal our damage here. One of those Hecates is damageable. It was not that one, though. With our long range, it's also a way we can potentially set ourselves up for more damage more safely. Ooh, okay. So, fortunately... Oh, that was a bad thing to have to waste a resist on, but... Is it this the real Hecate? Yes. You know, probably would have been better to wait for her to hit 1/3 health. Oh my gosh. Talk about terrible things to waste resistances on. I would also love, there's a great example of the long-range special being horrible when it comes to actually locking onto targets. I was really trying to aim at Hecate there. That's, oh my gosh. Just very silly. That's the real Hecate. But just standing in places where I really don't need to be standing. Just trying to be a little closer than I need to be to deal damage to her. So I would use the Hex now, but she teleported to avoid the previous one, and she's also about to do this.
Arise again, sisters.
Excuse me. Wait for you to unphase. I got hit by that, but I was getting a little greedy because I wanted to set this up. I saw an opportunity to deal a ginormous chunk of damage. So yes, the Hex does hit hard enough. It's a little unreliable with the targeting, but when it does hit, it's a pretty big deal. And we've basically phased her immediately, and she will now transform us.
Pleasant, isn't it?
No, I can't move quickly enough. I'm too slow. Okay, I've actually never seen that happen to me before. I've never been caught in a corner like that in that form in a way that more or less guaranteed that I was going to get absolutely wailed on. I was going as fast as I could. Whoop. Trying to avoid these, which do deal a chunk of damage. She's trying to do her fancy schmancy move, but we have our fancy schmancy move, which does a lot more damage than that. Oh, please don't do that. Although, we will get you with the Psychic Leash, so I suppose that's okay. That damage did start to add up quite a bit. Conveniently, yeah, if you just keep on running in a line like that, it works quite well. Okay, that was possibly the worst Hecate fight that I've done in a year, but that's okay. We avoided having to use a Death Defiance. Oh my goodness, if we did, that would have been pretty horrible, but that's okay. We made it through with our pretty janky and very incomplete build. We have some important things we would like to address soon, and we will have the chance to heal up quite a bit once we get here.
Retracing my past steps.
Okay, so sometimes you'll get Kronos trash-talking you here, but he chose not to do that this time. If we want to, we could potentially grow on this keepsake and then heal, and that would upgrade one of our lower rarity boons. I think we have 2 of them. It's this revenge boon from Zeus, which I would rather not have upgraded. I deliberately took it because it was bad, because I didn't want to waste a bad rarity boon on a category that we actually cared about. Or it would be this, the one from Artemis, which I would very much prefer to get upgraded, but I feel like anytime you're at a 50-50 chance, it's probably just not worth going that route. So let's heal up. We won't worry about that for now. And maybe we'll just go straight into Moonbeam here to upgrade our Hex even more, although, to be honest, I don't know how much additional stuff is going to benefit us, additional levels of our Hex. Yes, it will help, yes, but just don't think it's going to be the game-changing value that we got from heavily upgrading our Hex in the previous run, where it just became absolutely incredible and we became a passenger. We were not even the protagonist on our own run. So, yeah, it's probably still worth it. I just don't think it's going to be a game changer like it was in the previous run. Okay, so let's see here. We can restore more life. We are not at full life. And we have a bunch of bonus gold earning potential, and we did not spend any gold at the previous full-blown shop. We instead went with that Hermes stuff. So I think we can probably get especially aggressive here. This will basically just instantly cap off our life. Although we're going to have 2 rooms we can walk into to heal up. So we're going to be at 98, I think, before we actually fight anyone. Yay! I think we'll be okay. We'll save that. Sacrifice boons will be available. And it'll increase the rarity, or increase the level. The thing is, we have so few boons. The only things that I think we could even get a sacrifice boon for would be the dash and the revenge boon. Neither of which I'm especially interested in. I'm just going to take the speed.
An even trade.
I think we just need boons in general, and a sacrifice boon means on net we are not gaining any new ones. So, gonna opt out of that. Spend aggressively elsewhere. Oceanus? Oh! Okay, well maybe the healing would have been meaningful, because I did not anticipate we were going to get Chaos here, but Chaos at the very beginning of the floor, as I was saying before, that is when you want to see it. So I think we're going to do it. We are going to have to be a little bit mindful of what the downside is, but give it a shot. Oh, more crafting resources.
Flux.
Which are hard to come by in the Chaos area, so we'll definitely take them. And then what do we see this time?
Hail, almighty chaos.
This time, next 2 boons, you find we'll have 1 fewer blessing to choose from. Okay, not horrible. But then this is a little bit of a strange one. The bonus option, or the reward for it, is we get all the various elements counted. So it helps us for future infusions, but it doesn't give us anything directly. And typically, those infusions, as we saw in the previous run, they either hit a threshold, after which they give you the value, and before that they aren't doing anything. So it's a binary yes or no type of thing. Or in other cases, the more of a particular type of boon you have, the more value it will give you. So it can give you something even with just a small number of a particular type of boon, but you really need a lot before it becomes meaningful. The issue with that is we have so few boons right now. Honestly, I'm a little surprised that it is as high as it is right now. 3 with the fire, I know that's in part because we got a bonus one from mining, I think, is what gives us that. Maybe it's still workable here, and maybe with shops, you know, we can just buy any and every boon we see there, so we can kind of make up for our lack of boons in the future by doing that. Next 5 encounters, we have less max life. Afterwards, our cast deals more damage. Our cast isn't really doing much direct damage right now, but we would like for it to in the future. Otherwise, we move and sprint slower for 4 encounters. We did just buy this, which counteracts that to a certain extent. Afterward, we get a huge special damage bonus. So, this is a hard one to say. Downsides here are bad. This one, we're mitigating a bit, so maybe that's still manageable. The downside is probably the easiest to deal with, but the upside is probably the worst, or at least the most uncertain. But we'll give it a shot. Okay, I know we've done a lot of bones already. And there is something to be said for getting even more of them so we can load up on a crazy amount of bones. Can we see how many we have here? 1,200? I think we're still gonna go here, though. It's gonna mean we upgrade a boon that, you know, probably doesn't need much upgrading. The dash. Or at least, it's not gonna benefit us that much. I just stood there. And absolutely did not need to get hit by that. So these guys, they are a little tricky if they do manage to corner you in a small room. They can hit you a lot, and the damage can add up a lot. If you have range, and we do, then you really shouldn't be taking damage from them. Now, if they spawn directly on top of you, that might be a bit of a different story. Or if you're surrounded by stuff that can stun you. Don't know if that's going to hit them. Excuse me. You drop this. Stun is useful. Okay, we get this. The palm slice is going to upgrade the revenge boon. Darn it. Pretty meaningless. Okay, and also, we sort of noticed this in the previous run, although it was a different song, so it was actually a little less significant. But notice how at the beginning of Oceanus, we now know, of course, as people have been playing the early access have known for a long time, but this is the skill of floor, and in the early stages you just hear some subtle humming, not a lot of music, but as the floor progresses it becomes more prominent and you actually hear the lyrics. Okay, so we'll definitely go to the shop. We're probably going to want to go to more or less every shop that we encounter because of the bonus gold earning stuffs that we have. Poseidon. Yeah, already the song, you can hear a little bit more of it. So take this. This one's blocked. That's from the Chaos Boon. Whenever you claim rewards other than boons, hammers, or other rare resources, a copy may appear. This is another one that the earlier you get it, the more valuable it is. If you get it near the end, it's just about meaningless. But it's still pretty early. So I think we give that a shot, but it is another boon that is more indirect value. We are still very much lacking the stuff that just does damage. But we can certainly get this. And it also means we can cash in the bonus points from our Moonbeam Keepsake right off the bat, which is very useful. So we can take this. The problem is, it does increase the magic cost by a pretty significant amount, and it already takes a while to charge this one up. We do have a little bit of automatic charge up from our Arcana cards, but we probably should get a little more aggressive with spending our magic to charge up the hex more quickly. That's something to bear in mind. Okay, so regardless, it's going to be extra power. More damage after it's done, or even more power. It has base 1,000 damage. This is like a 10% damage increase. And this is a second full-blown blast, full damage, after 2 seconds. So That means it's a total of a 6-second delay between you initiating the hex and when the second one lands. So if you can get both to land, incredible damage potential. But it is not easy to get an enemy to just hang out there. But with 5 points, that means we could go up here. Admittedly, I remember I've taken this before, but I don't know exactly how this works. We've seen the crater that it creates. Does that mean enemies that are standing in the crater take the bonus damage, regardless of whether they were actually hit by the meteor itself? Or does it mean enemies that were hit by the meteor, regardless of where they move, end up taking 30% extra damage for the remainder of the encounter? I'm not sure. For the most part, unless it's a boss, one would think that we are one-shotting at least the basic enemies with our hex. So we can do this, or we can do this, but we can't afford to get all the way to both of these blue ones just yet. This does help charge up more quickly. Against, you know, as I was saying, it is a little tough to get this hex going. So starting off with it 40% charged, and charging it up more quickly in a boss encounter, I think that is kind of meaningful. And then starts 40% charged. I mean, get 2 of those and you're 80% charged right off the bat. Then it becomes a lot easier to spam it. It is possible when you're going down to get instances of just 1 point for Selene. So being 1 point away from getting here is potentially significant, even if in the short term I'd probably prefer this. I guess we'll go here.
The sheer might of the moon.
We could buy this, but it doesn't give us the bonus life when we purchase it from the shop, so I think we're going to pass, and that way we should still be able to be very aggressive with future shops. And this... Oh, yeah, we do have some lyrics to the song. This is going to be a mini-boss, regardless of which direction we go. It's either Hera or it's Apollo. As I said, I don't know which god or goddess gives us the duo boom potential with this hex. It's not Poseidon, because we didn't see it show up from him. I know it's not Apollo. I also know that it's not Hera. So I guess that's not a factor this time round. Instead, we're just thinking about, in general, which one do we value the most? Both of these are more area of effect oriented boon giving gods and goddesses. So I think that does work well with our cast. So we want to be hitting a lot of people with that, although we would probably like for that to freeze enemies. So I wouldn't be opposed to taking a Demeter keepsake on the next floor to potentially get that. Let's go... I think either could work. We'll go... We have more fire boons right now. And once this chaos boon evolves, we're going to get a bunch of everything, but fire will be far and away the most. And I do believe that Apollo's infusion is based on fire stuff, and he also has fire boons. I think the infusion from Hera is actually based on having... Is it the one that gives you the bonus if you have at least 6 of any category? We'd be at close to 6 for fire once this evolves. So you know what? Even from an infusion standpoint, you could go with either. I guess we'll go here. Okay, this guy, I think of the various mini-bosses on this floor, I think is the easiest. Have I just jinxed it? Yes, of course I have. Would also be a good enemy... Hold on, that's gonna burst into a bazillion projectiles. Would be a good enemy to hit with our Hex. Guess he's pretty stationary most of the time. One would hope. Okay, just don't get hit by that. But now, wait for this. Ah! Sloppy. Whoop. Hold on. He is no longer armored, which means we can stun lock him. Which means it's basically over. Just got hit by one of those projectiles, which in the grand scheme of things is not too bad. In what is, by most accounts, one of the more difficult encounters in this area. Even if, as I said, I think of the various mini-bosses on this floor, I think that one's the easiest.
Pleased to have finally met in a more proper way, my dear. You bought this mountain of ours a bit of extra time, so we are bolstering our defenses as best we can. Thus, I'm beseeching you to hurry back.
And so, I forgot to mention this earlier, but now that we have gone in both directions, we've gone through the underworld and up to the surface, as of full release, you have now seen how Hades, the two main ways to play Hades 2, and so we've gotten all the big pieces of new content, but lots of little things still to discover, and certainly plots to experience as well. But that is why you may have heard many people saying, oh, Hades 2 has twice the content of Hades 1, and there is definitely some truth to that. You know, obviously there are things beyond just which floors you can access, but more or less, yeah, twice the content in Hades 2, which is pretty awesome. And this is exactly the infusion that I was just talking about. Fortunately, it is not the thing that got blocked. So, well, you have at least 2 of everything. Oh, it's 2 of everything. Okay, so we don't yet have that, but we are about to get it. So I think we do go that route. All common boons become rare. And we do have at least a few common boons at the moment. It does mean that that keepsake from Narcissus that I was pondering previously is not going to be worth taking in the future, but that's alright. We'll go for it.
Again, our foes are utterly destroyed.
Oh, hello, Homer. And in fact, it was taking that boon that made our Chaos Keepsake evolve. So yeah, now we have actually a bunch of all the various boon categories. We can go gold, or we can go Hephaestus. We already have a fair bit of gold, and yes, we do get bonus value from this. How much is it? That first Chaos boon? 85%, so this is giving us 185 gold, which technically is worth more than a single boon. Single boon would usually cost 150. However, you have to bear in mind, there are only so many opportunities to buy boons at that cost. So, we still have a bunch of gold stockpiled up here. I think we do take this, just because it is a guaranteed immediate boon. Oh,
Clear.
It's also a well. So we get healing, which we actually did need to a certain extent, and it's a free boon of the Hephaestus variety.
Hear me, on my authority.
So here, we now know it's always going to be at least rare rarity. Your blast effects from Hephaestus deal more damage and are 50% larger. That is really nice as a support effect for Hephaestus. But at the moment, it's just dash boons that would be affecting. If we could get even more Hephaestus stuff afterward, that could be really good. And this would also be a really good supporting Hephaestus boon if we were to go more or less all in on Hephaestus. I mean, we could potentially do that. Let's try it. Again, it's kind of a long-term rather than a short-term thing, but hopefully we can still get by in the time being. Okay, and so now we do already have at least one boon from both of you guys, although we actually went with the infusion from Hera. I think we might prefer to go the Zeus route. It's just the revenge boon, but Zeus and Hephaestus, I tend, along with one other boon-giving god who we have not seen for a while now, those are the ones that I tend to categorize as more so the slow, hard-hitting ones, rather than I would kind of put Hera and Apollo in the area of effect-oriented ones, and then there are others that I would put more in the pure upfront damage, or maybe the more immediate damage, yeah, rather than the delayed, slow damage ones. And so that does, at least for me, that is something that I try to consider when I'm thinking about, for a particular run, what direction I want to go in. Because if you have a fast weapon, this one's kind of middle of the road with its speed. If you have a fast weapon, you probably want some of the ones that give you just upfront damage, so you can multiply that damage as much as possible and benefit from it immediately. Whereas if you get some of the stuff that hits slowly and with a cooldown, like if we had this effect on our attack, which is more or less what Hephaestus does with his attack boon, then that means, sure, you get the value with the first hit, but then all of your other really quick hits just aren't doing much. So it doesn't pair very well with the high-speed weapons. And since we aren't really using a high-speed weapon, again, we're sort of middle of the road, I think it's okay for us to go all in on the slower, harder-hitting stuff.
Vaporized.
Still would like to see some cast stuff going on, though, because, at least initially, that was the plan, was to go big on that. But we just have had so many other things that are more support-oriented. We kind of lost sight, or just never have had the opportunity to do the big stuff we were hoping to do at first. Nice. Also nice. Ooh, hello. There we go.
In the name of Hades.
And let's see. Each encounter, this is the magic restoration option from Zeus. This is basically Zeus's one of his best supporting boons if you are going big on the Zeus stuff. Makes it possible to hit multiple times. Likewise here. Right now it's just coming from our revenge boon, but our revenge boon, it retroactively got its rarity upgraded from that infusion, right? I think it did. What does it look like now? And also, where is it? And we did upgrade the rarity once as well. So it's 100 damage with a chance to repeat up to 4 times, though. Very low probability of that happening. This can potentially make it strike even more. So it's infrequent, but it's relatively high damage, which means having it hit multiple times is kinda nice, although that will give us much more value if we can continue to load up on more Zeus. So Zeus, Hephaestus, we have reason to really focus on those guys. We don't need the healing. Could get a sacrifice boon. We could just get some seeds to plant. And as I was saying before, we don't have a lot of boons to sacrifice, and now that we have taken some supporting boons that help us out with Hephaestus and Zeus, we might be willing to swap Zeus for Hephaestus, or the other way around, but we don't really want to be introducing that many other people at the cost of Zeus and Hephaestus, so I think we're passing on that too. If we were to go Palm, at this point, yeah, we probably would upgrade this dash once again, but ideally, if we were building around a specific Hephaestus hammer boon, it would be an attack or a cast or a special. The dash, it is still really good damage for a dash, but it is still a dash. I just feel a little reluctant to go that route. This is technically worth a little bit more. We don't have a lot of life yet, so you know what? We'll take this. Okay, I would prefer if our amigo here would, yes, make the psychic leash do a little more work, and it does also make it easier to blow up these containers, which could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on what our positioning looks like. Ah, darn it. Just gonna miss on that guy. Oh, no, but it did hit the other dude. Okay. Okay, please stay right there. Thank you. Very nice. Thank you. Very nice. So yeah, almost 1,500 damage on the Hex is pretty sweet when it lands. But it is definitely a lot more effective against the more stagnant enemies. At least easier to set it up.
All right, fish.
Fishing in Oceanus. Feels fitting.
That's a bite.
There we go.
Found you, Stockfin.
Oh, and that gives us functionally another water boon. So yeah, with that infusion, or rather with the chaos boon, actually, it is now much easier for us to set up future infusions. And there is one infusion for all the major boon-giving gods and goddesses. So we've already gotten one from Hera, which is actually a little unusual since we had not seen much of anything from Hera. But if we could get one from Hephaestus, that'd be nice. From Zeus, that'd also be nice. We have lots of potential value from that. Oh. Oh, okay. These did exist before in the early access, but they looked different. So I think I know what this is, but I'm not 100% sure. So I am going to try this.
Might be a better path.
Yes. So what that does is basically, it's an option to open up one more room that you would not have otherwise have had access to, but it means you have to fight more enemies to do it. And to be honest, I wanted the shop anyway, so we're not, in all likelihood, going to find ourselves going through that room. However, I just wanted to confirm that it was what I thought it was. And it was. It used to look like sort of like a lock. Not a skull. It didn't look nearly as ominous as that. Yeah, just max magic. No thanks. We are looking for opportunities to cash in our gold, and this is one of them. Nope, don't do that.
Accept this message.
Nemesis, for what it's worth. If you see her in a shop like this, I saw her and immediately rushed over to pick everything up. That is because she will take something from the shop and you will not be able to purchase that thing. Was it the thing that I was least interested in buying myself? Yeah, probably, but that's not important. What is important is that we were able to do the thing that we came in here to do, sort of. Okay, this is the more important thing though. We get a Poseidon boon. We can have our attacks gain knockback. We can have our cast also immediately hit foes with a powerful splash that inflicts froth. Is this his secondary cast effect? It might be. Or hit surrounding foes with a powerful slash as they start to strike, but we prime magic. I don't think we want... If this is truly the standard cast boon from Poseidon, and I forget if it is, then we probably would prefer to see it from Hephaestus or Zeus, because, as I said, those are the ones that we're really trying to build around. I think we do take something that's a little more tertiary, like this. We could maybe do the attack, but kind of a similar story there. And we could purchase this. Yes, we have primed a little bit of magic. No, we haven't done that much to gain magic, although we did get a little bit from just taking Hecuba in the first place. I feel like we save, and then it allows us to continue to buy every boon that we encounter. We can be super aggressive in mini shops, even though we haven't seen the best of options there in the past. And then worse comes to worse at the very end in the super shop on the final floor, assuming we get there, which is not a given, then we can get very aggressive there. So this will be the final boss of the floor. We know who that is now, of course. You can tell from the music. We are still not that strong, but our hex may carry us a bit.
What do you think of our latest number, lady? Critics say Bewitching Eyes reveals a soulful, more vulnerable side of skill in the sirens. But what do they know?
We did hear it for the first time on our previous Downward run, and that was a song that was added with the full release, so I had not heard it before. I didn't get the chance to listen to it that much. I was a little distracted with the fighting, but I think my first impression of it was I didn't like it quite as much as some of the other songs that Skilla has, because she has a couple of bangers.
I couldn't make out all the lyrics while fighting back, you lot.
Exactly.
You sing of red and green, bewitching eyes, and love potions and such. Is this truly how you feel about me?
Oh. Hold on, the plot thickens.
No.
No.
Especially about you, lady. It's called a fictionalized work. And besides, Jenny mostly wrote that one.
I love Skilla. She's so well written. Okay, so my plan with our build is to bully the drummer with our hex, because the drummer is stationary. Ooh, that's a bad place to be standing for that. Okay, come on. So yeah, the drummer in general, I think, is the best enemy to focus on, but it also just so happens, early at least, and it just so happens that our build is very well designed to bully her. And if Skilla is standing there as well, oh, come on, Skilla, move forward just a little bit. There we go. Big time value. Drummer is down. Oh, that was bad. That was really bad. I was trying to be a little clever and sidestep it, but I was not precise enough with my movement. Trying to get you with the leash. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that can add up to quite a bit. See there, that was almost 1,000 damage just from the leash. Fortunately, Skilla was stationary enough. That was pretty feasible. Jetty here, the Guitarist, is definitely the most mobile of all of them. This is the attack I would like to dash through. We do have the Hex back, which... I don't know if I want to use it here, if I want to save it for when we... Oh, that was bad. I did get hit by that. Okay, Jetty is down. I think we wait for the next phase then. Oh, please don't corner me like this. I mean, okay. You're gonna do this. And I'm gonna do this. Now... No! Why didn't you phase more quickly? Okay, so now Jetty is mad. And you are back. This is the drummer's effect here, with those circles on the ground, which generally I think is the thing that you have to be most wary of. Because it does this, despite the drummer technically being stationary, she's the one who dictates your positioning the most. With stuff like this, I almost got stuck on that and wasn't going to be able to get out. Oh, that was also very bad to stand there. We do have the Hex available once more. Dash through that. Now... Do I want to use it here, or do I want to save it for the very end? Might save it for the very end at this rate. Drop this, and then try to get the leash going, ideally. No, don't block it. Hold on. Oh, okay, we accidentally got Jetty. That works. Sure. Don't do that, unless you're you might be phasing at this stage. I don't think so. I think we have to get you a little bit lower first. Hold on. No. Stop blocking it. She blocks stuff if you hit her from behind. She has her shell, but this is where our doggo is a little more mobile than I would like her to be under ideal circumstances. But there, the Festus Slam is what did it. And then now we're going to do this. And you do stay pretty stationary here. You just need to wait for that to land, and there we go. So Skilla down.
They just won't shut up. There.
Get this. Get this. See if there's any bonus lore. Yes, there is. I think we accidentally skipped this last time.
The alluring siren song fades finally to nothingness, leaving the Princess of the Dead to contemplate the pathways plunging deeper toward forbidden regions of the realm.
We're almost to the fields.
Okay. And we managed to block most of the things that they hit, despite us having been hit a few times, in part because of that Hermes boon here. And that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to take that early. Okay. This...
Dig here, girl. Why,
don't
thank you.
technically need the healing, and don't technically need to factor this in, because you are basically irrelevant at this point. I was at one point thinking that getting Demeter to give us a freezing cast or special could be helpful, to give us even more crowd control, to help further set up the Hex. There is still a case to be made for that, however, as I was saying, there is also a case to be made, not so much for Hex-related reasons, but for just pure damage reasons, to either go with more Hephaestus stuff, or more Zeus stuff. I have a much higher level keepsake for Hephaestus than I do for Zeus, although this is about to get leveled up. So, is that meaningful enough? Otherwise, is there anything we could do that gives us a long-term benefit if we throw it on for one floor and then replace it on the final one? If we do this, actually, it'd be kind of interesting. Never used it, but after choosing a boon, 25% chance of the item randomly, basically giving us another one.
The stone.
Let's try it. I'm intrigued. Since we don't have anything that we urgently need here. Oh, have to do this first, even though we don't need it. Then we go here. We don't need that. We could benefit from this, although we still don't have a cast boon, so we don't have great direct cast damage unless we do a charged cast. Take less damage. I think we're just going to skip all this stuff, and I know, as I was saying, we have a lot of money, so we can be kind of aggressive with that stuff, but I was kind of hoping we were going to get more stuff that gives us more significant bonuses. I mean, yeah, there's something to be said for being able to get all those semi-passive bonuses, like take less damage, have more speed, and just always have that luxury. But we've now saved some cash by not doing that on several occasions, to the point where that may add up to us being able to afford one more boon in a shop at some point. Maybe. Again, it's only going to take effect. It's only going to be meaningful by the time we get to the final shop, but so be it. We are going to see Selene, which we have upgraded a lot. So I think we have at least a few other things that would be significant to get a little more Selene help on. And then Hermes, early Hermes stuff is good. Okay. Remember, it's a little bit open-ended and open in general, these rooms. We look at the bow. It'll show us where we can go. And I do see you giving us a little bit of extra. That was a full-blown bones reward there. Get the bones. We also get the... Please don't do that. Please don't do that. We also get a little bit of magic as well. Okay, I know you're trying to do that, but I don't appreciate it. Stop that. Stop that nonsense. You guys. And we have a free magic upgrade. I think that's a mini magic upgrade by the looks of things. Not a full-blown one, but we'll take it. No, I'm not. I don't think I'm going to hex these guys. That's a lot of projectiles. Oh. You were very well hidden.
Felt that.
Okay. Nice. So now, bear in mind that there is some echo potential on this floor where she may duplicate the last reward that we had in a room. So that means the thing that we like most, we should actually get last until we see echo. And I think that actually would be Hermes. I'm going to do this first. Because I think we benefit from one Selene upgrade. By the time we're talking about two, I think at that point, we're going to have picked up most of the things that we're looking for already. And these are just random dudes. Should get rid of just for the sake of making things a little less crowded. Okay, so yeah, 3 points. And there's what? There's only 4 points left in this tree anyway, so we can get almost everything. In fact, we're basically just thinking about how much... Oh, no, it's 5. 5 points remaining total. So it might be easier to think of this as which 2 are we skipping? Extra damage in the encounter. Charge up at the beginning. After using the Hex, foes in the area take more damage. That's theoretically supposed to be the biggest one left here. More damage for the rest of the encounter. I feel like at this point, yes, we're doing huge chunks of damage already, and getting an extra 100 is nice, but we've already had a few of those. An extra 100 here or there, I'm not sure how much of a difference that's really going to make, whereas getting extra damage for the rest of the encounter, that might be more meaningful, and being able to use it more quickly as well. So I think we go here, here, and here. And we get a bonus one from the Poseidon boon that we took on the previous floor. So now we don't have to choose. We are getting everything with points to spare. Okay. So, yes, we've now maxed out the Selene tree. Yes, that is a thing. And, yeah, we did it with a point to spare. So it does mean that any future Selene stuff is completely meaningless to us. I have done this before, but I don't know if I've ever done it this early on in a run. So I'm actually not sure if the game is now just going to make it impossible for Selene to show up as a room reward and as a shop option. In which case, that'd be kind of nice, because it means there's a higher chance of us getting stuff that is still meaningful to us. Whereas if it does show up, then basically just means that's a dead reward, which would be pretty unfortunate. But here we go. It's Hermes now. These are the 1,000 punch guys. What was I just knocked back by? Honestly, don't know. What was that? Did I walk into the thorns? Is that what that was? It sounded like the sound effect you get from avoiding something due to an immunity. But I did not see what hit me. I suppose we get 2 immunities. 2 avoided hits guaranteed per encounter, and this is about to be the last encounter in this room, so maybe that's fine. Okay, as for this...
Olympus, I accept this message.
At this point, I think we're getting far enough on the run that we're probably looking more for things that give us short-term value. Channel... Oh, we saw this before. Higher rarity version, in fact, and opted not to take it. Whenever you slay a foe, deal more damage with your weapon for the next 45 seconds. Doesn't matter how you slay the foe. It could be from our Hex, for example. We would still get the damage bonus on the weapon, though, so it could be powered up by the Hex, but it will not boost the Hex. So, our weapon... We're still looking for, anything to power it up. Attack or special. So it's a little bit odd right now, but long-ish term, one would hope that would benefit us. So I think we are still taking it. But... Oh, we get the Echo.
Yes.
So we get an extra one from our keepsake. And it was the projectiles shoot more slowly. Which I don't often take, but I am curious to see just how useful that is. Okay, so now... Mini-boss for a high-rarity Hera. I'm not really sure how much that benefits us. We're trying to ideally go Hephaestus and Zeus for our big boons. Or gold, which we get bonus value on, and a hammer, which would usually be quite good. I wish... Probably would prefer if that gold was just a straight-up boon of some variety, because, again, we may have the gold, but we need opportunities to turn that gold into boons. I think we're going for this nonetheless. I think it's just a little too good to pass up on.
More shades.
And again, I think... Don't quote me on this, but I feel like, in general, Echo is typically the 3rd room, if she is to appear on this floor. He was armored, so I should have known that that was not going to work. I ran up to him and acted as if he was going to be stun locked, and then he was not. That is the deal here. But if we were to hit him with the hammer upgrade, hammer dash, that would have made a much bigger difference. Okay, so I think if we are to see Echo on this floor, then she is likely to appear in the next room. I think she's generally the 3rd room. I could be wrong about that. That may just be a coincidence, so don't quote me on it. That may be a thing. I'd also love to see the bow. Where is it? Theoretically, that is directing us toward it. Those little leaves on the ground. So, we would like to pick up the hammer upgrade last, because getting an extra hammer upgrade would be really nice. And Echo, with her potential bonus to give you an extra copy of your most recent reward, that does also consider those mini upgrades, so you really don't want that to be the most recent thing that you picked up. Let's prioritize getting those first. Oh, and we get a bonus one of those. That's nice. It's just a little extra 5 life, but it's better than nothing. Okay, so we'll go here first. Yeah, but I'm definitely starting to feel the lack of having a basic damage-dealing boon. Fortunately, we have, for the most part, still been able to set that up, which has been pretty huge. But if we didn't have all the enemies standing right on top of each other, this would have been kind of painful to get through that encounter. Okay, so that's a lot of gold. Now we go here. This is way in the corner. I'm half expecting the mini-boss to show up.
Smackers.
But it was not her. That is nice. mini boss, in fact, that we saw in on the first floor. Armored version of her. Well, I guess she's always armored. Like, I don't really want to have to run up to those guys, all of whom deal a lot of close range damage. Kind of waiting for the Hex to come back. Or using the leash, whittle away at them a bit. There we go. Oh, there's still... you. There we go. Okay. So we get the hammer, which I do not think can be duplicated by that Zeus boon, or rather the Poseidon boon. If it could, it would be unbelievable. But, okay, we have charged attack, deals 50% damage, also strike extra 50% damage, also strike sideways, and channel your... Wait. You can channel extra magic into your charge special to deal humongous damage in a larger area. If we had a good special, that could be incredible. However, we don't have any special boon right now. Special fires 2 projectiles, but at significantly reduced range. So, none of these things are great right now, or at least we haven't set them up to the extent that we would like to. We have yet to take this one. Feel like charge attack versus charge special. We'll take it in large part just because we haven't taken it yet.
Such secrets in this stuff.
Let's see. Do we get Echo? We get a mini boss, or we get Echo. Okay, we'll definitely go Echo here then. So we have the potential to duplicate the hammer upgrade. That was the whole rationale behind taking it last. Doesn't seem like there's much else in here.
Look, I have your keepsake here. Your concave stone.
This... I've never taken this keepsake before, so this is definitely the first time I've ever had it when I'm talking to her, so I'm curious to what extent she responds to that.
Your concave stone. Your concave stone. Your concave stone. It's a beautiful gift. It must have come from the mountains where you used to reside. Do you ever miss it? I can't imagine you prefer it here. Imagine you prefer it here. Prefer it here. Prefer it here.
Okay, so let's see. After your next purchase from Charon, gain another, at no extra cost, crazy shop potential. Double the level of a random boon whose level is the highest. So if we had something that we had super highly upgraded, which is right now either the Revenge boon or the Dash boon, then that would get big time value. We had the option to upgrade this more, we chose not to. Not loving it. Not loving that. I think it's either this, choose one of 3 random boons from the previous night, in which case I don't remember what we'd be looking for, but hopefully we found some good things. We had several duo boons. If we could nab one of those, that'd be great, although I don't think we'd be eligible for any of them in this case, so I doubt it's even possible, so I don't know. This is probably the best one, to be honest with you, and we're just really looking to go crazy at the next shop.
Thank you, my friend. My friend.
So it didn't turn out to give us the option to duplicate our most recent reward, but I think hopefully that one still pays off for us. Okay, then I think we're going here because we need boons. We really need boons, and we have in some ways passed up on some boons in the past, so getting 2 in one room plus the gold, oh my goodness. Lots of potential here then. Hold on.
Illuminate my path.
What are we dealing with? What's the big rewards? There's 2 things over here, it seemed like, and they might just be kind of blocking each other because they're in the same spot. Let's go with the little guys first. Oh, hold on. You are armored, which is annoying. Now that we have seen Echo, at least when it comes to the main rewards in this room, we can certainly go for the best ones first, which, given how in some ways weak we are, that would be nice. Getting an attack or special or cast boon would be very useful at this stage. The fact that we still have not picked one up is kinda crazy. it had a sound effect for 2 different things over here. Even though at the moment we're only seeing 1. No, don't do that. Don't do that. That did waste one of our resistances, unfortunately. Moment will I attempt to hit you with the leash, which legitimately is our biggest source of damage right now. That was so annoying. The combination of this guy having a vacuum cleaner effect, which this guy is also about to do, sucking us into the other roly boulder dude, while we were also right next to that, forcing us to take damage in the process. Get a little bit of life, which helps make up for it to a certain extent, but okay, it doesn't really seem like there are any other mini rewards here, despite how I thought it was suggesting that'd be the case. Ooh, we've yet to see one of those thus far, so that would be interesting in a little bit. But let's now go, I think Hephaestus is probably our top priority here. I think he gives us the most potential. What do we get? Right, that hammer melee was quite useful, but without that, it's a little tough to deal good damage. If you guys could just continue to hang out there for a little bit longer, that'd be great. You guys create these little traps on the ground, which does make it a little bit annoying to get into range to attack you. That's one of them down, though their traps do persist even after they go down. Doesn't really help us that much in the short term. That's what they do, those traps. Come on. Oh, I walked into one of those smoke clouds. That's what they do. They don't deal damage, but they do slow everything down. Okay. This is why I would like to get a nice big boon from you, but wait for that to explode first, and nearly dash into the thorns as I do so. Okay, so what are our options here? Whenever we take damage, shrug some of it off and restore magic. That's the magic regeneration boon from Hephaestus. Not a big fan of that one. Blast effects from Hephaestus also inflict glow on foes. This is the other thing that can give a bunch of bonuses to other Hephaestus major boons, but we kind of need one of those other major boons. We could use a reroll here if we really wanted one, which is kind of tempting. Start of the encounter, we have 125 armor for 7 seconds. So in the first few seconds, you can tank a bunch of hits and get really aggressive. Not really sure that's what we're looking for. I think it's this or it's reroll. You know what? We'll take it, but it means we have even more reason to want to go really big on Hephaestus stuff. Oh, keep on running up to people and thinking, oh, surely we have the dash boon now, right? Not quite. Not quite there either, apparently. So this is where, when it's basically your only big source of damage... Oh, I didn't realize I was walking into that. I want to do this as well. When it's basically your only source of damage, yeah, the cooldown is very significant. Come on, round 2. There we go. Oh, don't walk into that, though. Okay, what do we get here? We do get an attack, we do get a special, but those are the things we now really want from Hephaestus. Your casts can inflict... Oh, that's... Okay, we're getting all the major categories from Hera. These are all the things that we want from Hephaestus. So I think we might re-roll. There's always the chance we could get a sacrifice boon and swap one of these into a higher rarity version for Hephaestus, but that's pretty speculative. So I think we're re-rolling. There may not be that many other options remaining right now, though. Yeah, so we're still seeing attack, we're still seeing special. Now this is the magic restoration boon from Hera, and I think we're gonna have to take it. Again, it's more of an indirect value type of boon. So it's not completely just that the game is not giving us the stuff we're looking for. We are doing some of this to ourselves, make no mistake. But it would be nice if we could get Hephaestus specifically to give us those types of boons, preferably as soon as possible.
Smackers.
Because basically, this has been a leash build and a hex build, and nothing else. And that's a little tricky. It's probably a good thing that we upgraded the leash aspect before this run, didn't we? Which I think at the time I was thinking, maybe that's not necessary. It's probably a good thing that we did upgrade it. Hex still isn't back yet. Now it is, as soon as I say that, naturally. I mean, yes, we can do things like that to make it charge up more quickly. I mean, now it is charged, so I really should just be doing that. Okay. And we already had a different source of magic regeneration from our familiar as well. Bonus gold from Poseidon. Okay.
I can get out now.
We have almost 1,500 gold, which is, I have to imagine, technically it might not be the most I've ever had at this stage in the game, but it's very close to it. Okay. But then there's this. It's a trove, which I'm not sure if we've seen as of the full release of Hades 2, but if you've played Hades 1, you're familiar with how this works. This is also going to be the penultimate room, I think, next time around, so we're definitely going to that shop. It'd be a free heart over here, but no, we need to spend, and spend a whole lot. Let's try this.
This'll be over soon.
Except that it won't, is the problem. I wish it would be over soon. Yeah, I did get hit by that. That went way faster than I thought it was going to be, though. It says 93 here, however, I think it's actually going to be more than that.
Mine now.
Yeah, it's actually 172, because that did not factor in the bonus gold from our Chaos Boon. So we took a little bit of damage there, but we got a fair bit of money in return, and now we can go into this shop and buy absolutely everything. And even if there are some minor things like some healing, we would probably still like to see that too. Hold on.
Let me show you the way.
Yes, this one has a lot, which means this is going to be comparatively quicker. Just prepare yourself mentally when you see that. Okay. So we have life, max life. Palm Slice. We still have so few things that are eligible for upgrades, I think, because some of the more supporting boons just cannot be upgraded. And then we have a random boon. I think it's possible to get bonuses of these from the Poseidon boon, but that is not possible with this. I think we probably will still do this first, because it may become the best thing for us to upgrade, unless we want to just further upgrade the dash boon, which honestly, it's not guaranteed, but it's a pretty good chance for it to be the thing that gets upgraded here. No, instead it was Sea Star, which is Poseidon something, the one that gives us a chance of extra rewards. It would have been so fitting if us upgrading that led to us getting an additional reward. But I guess it does mean technically that was... Oh, wait, it did! It did exactly that. Okay, then Blast Furnace. I guess it is fitting after all. That's the one that makes us get extra... it inflicts glow on enemies with our dash or other blast effects if we can get them, which makes afflicted foes take extra damage, 25% extra damage for 5 seconds. I think it was previously 20% extra damage, now it's 25. Okay, now let's go here.
Good evening, my dear.
Terra. And we are absolutely not doing that. Your charge moves create a fissure that deal damage in a long line, but use extra magic. We're going to have to go that route because we are not getting rid of our only Hephaestus damage-dealing boon, and we are not using one of your casts when we're looking for more Hephaestus. Doing that, and we're going to do this. That's Charon card, and we will almost certainly get another Charon card before this run is through, assuming we can make it through this next fight when we don't exactly have an ideal build for it. Fortunately, Cerberus is somewhat stationary, at least at various points in time, so we should be able to hit him with our Hex somewhat consistently. Outside of that, the leash, and that's gonna have to be the two things we're leaning on here, which is not great at this stage of the game, but that's all we have. So here goes nothing.
Meet Cerberus.
Hey, Hecuba. Hey, Cerberus. Oh, please don't do that. Okay, so now I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm hoping you're staying still here. Big burst. Other big burst. And the leash is doing what I want it to do for the most part against Cerberus. So that is nice. One moment. Oh no, he summoned that, so I didn't even see that. Ooh, we have used our resistances now, I think. Or now we certainly have. X is back. I think we're gonna wait for a phase though. Don't want to hit him with a big hit, only for him to do that and negate most of that damage. These guys are pretty annoying. I think Cerberus can respawn while some of them are still up, but I don't know if we can do it when all of them are still up, or most of them. Yeah, you really... Oh, well, here he is. Guess that answers that question. Okay. Waiting for Cerberus to do something to suggest he is going to stand still for a while, and then I'll break out the Hex. Like this, for example. Okay, right there. There we go. Really should do this. Oh, that's a bad place to be standing when he initiates the fire breath. That would have been a great window in which to hit him for a lot of damage. I mean, we did just do the Hex, so I guess we weren't going to do that. But, speaking of the Hex, I have to charge it up a little bit. Oh, it is back. Oh, I did not even see that he was doing that. Okay, wait for him to decide where he's going now. Answer is here. He's doing this, which means this is probably a good window. Although, there's not a lot of room to avoid these. That's okay. He's just going to hang out and get hit by the Hex. He's doing the fire breath, which actually does have limited range. I did not even realize that. I think that's only a factor. Oh, never mind. It's like I've never really noticed that could be out of range, because usually you want to be right up close to him and sneak up behind him as he's doing that. But there we go. Hex definitely was the key, and the leash helped as well.
Three-headed Cerberus tempers his boundless rage and hides for now his fangs.
So honestly, wasn't quite as painful as I expected that might end up being. Fortunately. Nab those. And now, I think that is everything. No extra lore-related stuff, so let's head on down.
Onward, Hecuba.
And as I said, one of the reasons why we made this setup for the run was because apparently we have yet to finish a run with this familiar, and so we are now, of course, onto the last floor. So, hopefully, that is something we can make happen. As for what we'd like to do here, we no longer need the concave stone. So typically, I would go with either the Luckier Tooth or with the Knuckle Bones on the final floor, and we have all our Death Defiances at the moment, so maybe that means that mathematically speaking, the Knuckle Bones actually give us a little more value here. Maybe we'll go with that, and also chance to get a little more experience on them, which is kind of nice. Mini shop. We could get aggressive here. Next time we would take damage, we heal instead. I don't think we need that anymore, but might as well take this. I mean, what are the chances that 10 gold are going to be a difference maker here at the final super shop? Although, there will likely be the opportunity to spend a ridiculous amount of money at the super shop. So although it may seem like, oh, Lids, when are you ever going to use 1,500 gold or even more than that if we pick up even, and we will pick up even more on this next floor? Well, it does depend what exactly ends up at the super shop, but because there are usually some combination of multiple palms, like the double or triple palms, which cost more, higher rarity boons, those will cost more, and or the rare crafting resources, which are usually the most expensive thing in the super shop. If we get some mixture of those things, then we may not even be able to afford everything. Of course, remains to be seen. We could sell some stuff, but I'm venturing to guess that those things are not of particular interest to us. We want to be holding on to boons, not selling them. We want to be buying boons, not selling them. It actually can be a little bit difficult to get extra boons on this floor because there are several rooms that just won't have any rewards at the end of them. We may have to take on some optional mini-bosses to do that, to get those boons, which is significant because, yeah, we still have some glaring holes in our build right now. So hopefully we can get some of those things along the way, and then anything at the super shop is just a nice big bonus. If we are truly still missing some critical components by the time we get to the super shop, then that's a little scary. So, fingers crossed.
Here goes.
Here goes nothing.
Service entrance.
More gold, because why not? Okay. Let us begin.
Just a few chambers to the house.
Granddaughter, how kind of you to visit us again.
Yes. Now this is a floor. Speaking of places where stuff will get difficult if we don't have a strong setup, this is absolutely one of those floors. These enemies can really mess us up if we do not have a strong setup. So, we do not have a strong setup. That is significant. Also, I like how, I don't remember this being the case in the past, but that environmental hazard in the middle is just going around in a circle like a clock, which is very fitting. Given that this is a Chronos area. Also, didn't quite get it to go down. It was kind of annoying. Also, it's nothing but Ratmen. Oh, we got a crit! That's one way we can actually get a little bit of extra damage, is if we go cast plus attack. Ooh, hold on. Don't do that. There we go. Now, this room is not going to give us any rewards. It's just a standard room. But it does mean... Oh, no. Okay, well, neither will the next room. No option but to just progress here. Hoping that we get some pretty manageable rooms, but we don't have direct control over that, I'm afraid. We do have the Hex. Not really sure, oopsie daisy, how best to use it here in a room when it is going to be of critical importance. Hello. And we do get the bonus damage after we've activated it, so I think we probably do need to use it early. This guy's still alive? Not anymore. Okay, well, there's definitely gonna be... Oh, there actually might not be another wave of enemies, because these guys all had armor. So they were kind of... Oh, that was stupid. It was quite silly. Okay, it was just armored versions of everyone. Nothing else. Was a golden urn there. Okay. And now we can either progress, or as I was kind of alluding to, fight a mini-boss, which will not get us any closer to the final boss, but it is a rare opportunity to get a boon on this floor without having to wait until the final super shop. So I'm not really sure we have an option. Not really sure we have a choice here. I think we kind of have to do this. But it could be quite challenging. Who is the super boss in question? It is the super duper coin purse. That's a bad way to use that. Which I don't really remember fighting. Apparently I have fought it before, though. I'm really hoping that, yeah, that's gonna do a humongous chunk of damage, because we need it. Now I'm gonna deliberately do this just to... Ooh, hold on, don't get hit by that. That's gonna hurt a ton. Yup, yeah, that's the problem. You can't get hit by that. He runs away and he does damage as he does so. That's devious. Okay. Oh, no, he's still armored. He's so close. But he is technically still armored. Run. Run, 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 run as fast as you can. Okay. Now you are unarmored. Now we can get you. We did take a lot of damage, as we kind of anticipated might end up being the case against a mini-boss here.
Where does Kronos find these things?
That is a valid question. There is a chance that we've never fought that guy before. No, it says Vanquish 2. Okay. Yeah, there's usually an icon when you're going into a mini-boss fight that you have yet to see. And fittingly, there's a lot of gold in this room. So we have even more to spend. And we get this from Zeus. And at this point, I really think we have to take one of the key categories here. The attack is the rarest. So maybe special and cast we try to reserve for Hephaestus, but at this point, we are very quickly approaching the stage where beggars can no longer be choosers.
3 chambers left.
There are 3 chambers left, unless we go here, which is another way for us to get a little bit stronger before we fight. I don't know if we've ever made it here with Hecuba before. I think I've only done one run with her, this familiar. It might have been a surface run, and obviously, as I said, we did not succeed with it, so there's a chance that Hecuba has a special way to interact with Cerberus. Cerberus never lets me pet him. Maybe the key was bringing Hecuba.
If you'd indulge a senseless curiosity, how fares my house? Your brother, he was more or less in charge of the decor. I highly doubt the Titan shares his taste.
On one hand, it is kind of nice to hear that our brother is the first person that he is asking about, especially given, if you're familiar with Hades 1, how there's quite a bit of tension between our brother and Hades. However, then to immediately go to the decor, now that seems like that is far less concerning, far less important.
Well, unless Zagreus was enamored of gold trim and the Titan's sneering likeness everywhere.
True.
Then it's probably quite different from what you recall.
Oh, you have your mother's candor to a fault. You ought to have told me everything was fine. The comfort of lies at times is all we have.
Oh. Okay. What are our options here? Whenever you use 60 magic, summon 3 soul urns around us, which are basically destructible containers that deal 200 damage apiece. It's not bad, but it takes a little bit of setup to make that work. After you take damage, go dark and deal more damage for a duration. Damage while dark plus 70%. My question here is, does this give us bonus damage with our Hex? Because if so, multiplying 1,400 damage, or whatever the base damage is on that, by 70% means that is a ginormous chunk of damage, enough to almost certainly immediately phase Kronos. We also took a keepsake that is going to make him take 10 damage at the very beginning of the encounter. So if we can basically just use a Hex to automatically progress to the next phase, that would be incredible. It would, in this case, require that we get hit in order to do that, and then I'm not sure, would the bonus darkness apply... Wait, after you take damage, go dark and deal more damage for the duration, the entire duration. So yeah, my question there would be, since it takes 4 seconds for our Hex to actually land, and then another 2 seconds, so 6 total for the second round of the meteor to fall, does that mean that we need to initiate the Hex, press the button within that 5-second window, or does it need to land during that 5-second window? Because if it needs to land during that 5-second window, then that means we have to more or less immediately press the Hex button and hope that Kronos is cooperating and happens to be standing in a good place and remain standing in that place for that duration, which is not always something that we can guarantee. Otherwise, he summons fewer reinforcements. I feel like it's one of these two. The potential of this is just too great. I can't turn it down.
Now leave me be.
But there's a chance it's going to be really hard to actually make that apply, at least to the key thing that we're trying to test. Now, will this work? Let's see.
3-headed Cerberus permits none approach, neither him nor his master.
But what if we bring a dog?
Stay back. Got it.
Still no. crushes me every time, man. Okay. Let's proceed. No rewards for this room. We do need to be careful because we did take a lot of damage in the previous room, and this is a nightmare room. This is a nightmare room. Make no mistake. There are a bazillion of these guys. Don't dash into it. Bazillion of these guys. Rather than having one super powerful one, we instead have a bazillion ones. Which means it's very hard to dodge them all. Really aim that very well. Whoa! It's like Mission Impossible. How do I dodge all the lasers? Especially when I have no damage. Okay. Ooh, I think we did get hit maybe a little bit, although we do have the 1 or 2 resistances, immunities, whatever you want to call them, from that Hermes boon, which definitely helps in rooms like this. A little bit of gold, but nothing else, and no other bonus reward rooms, which does stink. I'd also really like to see a mini shop here, because we have no shortage of gold. Again, it's just the super shop where we can spend it, and I would love to have an opportunity to heal from one of those shops, but I'd rather not have to have one of the limited spots from the super shop be reserved for healing, because that feels like, relative to big-time boons or palms, it's just not quite as meaningful, but we also just need boons. Plain and simple.
Surprise.
All the way down here. For maybe the first time.
Gold, so he won't mind our little contest here.
We've obviously encountered Nemesis many times before on our runs. I do not think I've ever seen her on this floor before.
Been waiting for this.
So we will get a bonus if we get more kills than she does. On the other hand, I feel like that's kind of secondary. And the primary thing here is just going to be living. Because this is not easy on this floor. Ratman. If Ratman spawns little rats, can we farm those for more kills? Ooh, we block some? I'm not entirely sure what happened. It's also a very long encounter. Don't dash into that. Or that. Or that. Oh, I got stuck. Wow, this is an incredibly long encounter. Freeze Nemesis in that. That'd be incredible. I don't know if that can happen. I'd love if it could, though. Yeah, we did crush her.
That's that. I lost.
By a lot. However, we did take at least some damage in the process, which again, in some ways, might be more meaningful. So I think by beating her, we got bonus gold. Which, sure, is all fine and dandy. But at the same time, looking for mini shops, not seen any. There is a dude who we can... a shade who we can free, but that's not the same.
I told you I'd make it all this way. Nice place your father's got. Though I guess Kronos since refurbished everything.
That's true.
Congratulations on infiltrating the lowest reaches, Nemesis. And if you've been drawing out some of our enemy's forces, all the better. Plenty to go around. Reached Kronos yet?
I don't imagine she's ever gonna make it there, but I'm surprised that she's here.
Got to what has to be the House of Hades, but you know what? They wouldn't let me in. Tried knocking, tried smashing down the door. No good. So Charon took me back.
Yeah, that's kind of why I didn't expect you to get in on this floor, because I thought we were only able to access Tartarus because of us technically being a member of Hades' nuclear family, which the same cannot be said of Nemesis.
You got Charon to take you on his boat. He's never once permitted me.
That's true. Also, come on, Charon, what the heck?
Guess you just don't have the birthright for it, princess.
We do have the birthright to go here, on this floor, unlike her, but she has the birthright to take Charon's boat. Because she... Is Charon a son of Nyx as well? They might be brother-sister. I don't remember. Yeah, he is, isn't he? I think so. Okay, hold on.
Don't be frightened.
Okay, there's a ton of these, so these are going to be lightning fast. There go. Okay, she did go through one of the rooms, which prevents us from going in that direction. I didn't see what it was. However, the alternative is Triple Palm. If that were a boon of some variety, I probably would have liked to have taken that. Triple Palm is not bad, because it is a way to get stronger before this fight. But, did you see how many enemies there are? Also, didn't we get a, I think we had a Hermes upgrade that makes us do more damage based on how many enemies we've killed recently? Which, in encounters such as this, where there are a bunch of weak guys, is actually pretty big. I was stepping on a trap.
Last one.
There we go. I did take a little bit of damage from a trap. I don't think we took damage from anything else, but it still feels a little bit silly. Okay, so big time upgrade for the magic restoration boon from Hera, the revenge boon from Zeus, the extra blast damage. I think it has to be this. But it just means all the more reason why we really want to see more Hephaestus.
Greater might.
Ooh, we get a bonus of that. That's actually huge. Even more bonus for Hephaestus. Attack boon. Alright, we did get an attack boon upgrade. That would be pretty significant. Hold on. That extra splash damage. I mean, this... Oh, well, it's a debuff that makes enemies take 7% more damage, which technically would, I think, apply to the Hex. So if we can more reliably make sure that that glow is active when Kronos gets hit by the Hex, all the more reason. If we are also in that darkness mode, if he were allowed to get one-shotted, we might be getting close to that. The problem is he's always going to stop at the thresholds where he phases and becomes immune to damage. So, I mean, there are other situations in which, outside of the Hex, it would be nice to have Kronos taking more damage. Yes. But, I mean, we have to, right? Okay, so this, if we had more fear, we would have the option of doing it, but we definitely do not have the requisite amount. Okay, so we can proceed, or we can get a Hera boon. I think we have to take a Hera boon, because we need all the boons we can get at this point. And it's a free room. And it also has a well. That's actually huge. We get this crafting resource, some marble, which is very nice. We get... Let's go Hera first.
I know full well we cannot stand on ceremony whilst our entire way of life is under threat. Yet surely my dear son Hephaestus here need not be so uncouth at every opportunity.
So uncouth. But this sounds like it's about to be a duo boon, Hera plus Hephaestus, and I don't think I've gotten this one before, so I don't know what it does, but it could be very good.
Not like you ever taught me proper manners, Mum.
Ouch.
Fortunately, I did learn a couple things, even without having a role model like you or Dad around to set me straight. Just watch. And Witchy too.
Hephaestus was kinda, sort of, an outcast on Olympus to a certain extent. So I think that's what he's alluding to there. We can get the cast, but this is the duo. Let's see. Automatically use magic to resist up to 10% of any damage. Magic cost per damage point is 10. Okay. So this is interesting. Have we taken this before? It doesn't have the scroll icon next to it. So I remember there being something along these lines that I have taken before. This is actually not bad. When none of our boons are common, we get bonus damage. None of our boons are common, courtesy of this, which came from Hera, so that's not a coincidence. This almost certainly is objectively better than this. I know it's a duo. I know it's rare. This is actually, I think, this might have been a boon that trapped me in a previous fight against Kronos, if I'm remembering this correctly, because I had a setup that was extremely powerful, but it very much relied on spending magic to use it, and I didn't have a great way to restore magic, or it took time to restore that magic, and so I was close to defeating Kronos. However, then I ran out of magic, and I think it may have actually come from having this boon, taking a big hit, one of the things that was more or less supposed to be a guaranteed one-shot. And so, obviously, it still one-shot me, I think, but it also depleted all of my magic. in the process. So it was just all downside, no upside. So I actually think this is, in several ways, what we ought to take here. We do still have one reroll, but I think we're going to save that. So that is active, and it will always be active, because we have that infusion that prevents us from having common boons. Then this is also huge, because that almost gets us back up to full health without us having to spend anything at a shop or mini shop. Speaking of spending, we have to.
Sand skulls.
Don't teleport, please. So our dash boon is now even stronger than it was before. And we would have a really strong way to power up all of our Hephaestus boons if we had more Hephaestus boons. However, we are currently still stuck with just the dash, which kind of stinks. And this is where we did pass up on several upgrades for that level-wise on that Hephaestus boon. We didn't really anticipate this far into the run it would be our primary damage dealer. Had I known that, I probably would have approached it a little bit differently. 20/20 hindsight, I suppose. Is it just that dude? No, it is not just that dude. Oh, for a second, I confused our leash damage with the hazard. A moment while we poke him a little bit from afar. I think he's the last enemy. There we go.
For me.
Don't mind me as I pick up this 555 and then another round of 555 gold. Okay, at this point, I think this is approaching, if not already at the most gold I've ever had, and you're probably thinking to yourself, Lids, how on earth could you have possibly gotten this amount of gold before? There was at least one other occasion where we had a run like this, where we had more than just this one extra boon giving us extra gold from, actually it's Zeus, or not Zeus, it's Chaos. And then we have a Hermes one. There is a Hermes one that can give you extra gold. I don't think we got that though. But we're getting the Poseidon one that obviously just gave us a huge bunch of extra gold there. We are actually about to see this 20% movement speed expire, which is a little unfortunate, but it has been helpful here. And this is very useful. 2 boons.
Can't they form an orderly queue?
But it would be nice if they formed an orderly queue, because this does mean we're going to have to make one of them mad. Ideally, one of these would have been Hephaestus, but we're going to have to deal with it being Zeus and Poseidon, and I think they're probably pretty similar in what they do when they're angry. No, actually, Poseidon being angry, I think, is maybe a little more manageable in truth. And we have a little more going on with Zeus synergy-wise. Let's see. We get the infusion. How many air boons do we have? We do have enough. We have at least 5. You never deal less than 50 damage. So basically, that's good for if you have stuff that does lots of little quick hits. Suddenly those quick hits are worth a lot more. So Psychic Leash technically means we wouldn't have had to have upgraded it at this point now. It's already absolutely paid off, that upgrade. But it would be a sizable upgrade for that. And that is a very quick source of damage. Lots of little hits. So that would be big. Otherwise, it actually, oddly enough, doesn't work that well with Zeus stuff, because much like with Hephaestus, it's one big burst of damage, so it's not going to get affected in that way. But neither is our Hex. Anything else that does little bits of damage here and there that we have? Revenge Boon, that's already doing enough damage, that's not affected. Splash damage, oh no, that's also more than 50. That's more than 50. I thought there was at least one thing. Maybe not. Okay. So the leash alone might still make this worthwhile. Otherwise, we can finally get a special boon or finally get a cast boon. I mean, this would be a good one to combine with it, but unfortunately can't take them both. I think I will still take it because of the leash.
A boon awakened.
But Poseidon's mad. I almost forgot about that part.
You chose correctly in deferring to my brother Zeus, but I must still save face.
Okay. Now for this encounter. Sorry. Those orbs, those blue orbs, that's what Poseidon does when he's angry. They will heat seek. They are theoretically avoidable, of course, and then they do explode a bit. Are we seeing... Ooh, don't walk into that one. Are we seeing the... Yes, the leash is doing 50 damage now. That's great. Excuse me. Excuse me. Please don't block that. Please go down instead. Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't quite think we'd done enough for that to be the final group of enemies. Please get hit by that, though. Okay, I am a little trapped in this corner, though. Down you go. Woo, don't walk into that, or that. Okay. Now we focus on you guys, who are actually kind of hard to avoid getting hit by, because those projectiles are a little bullet helly, if you know what I mean. Oh, still don't have the hex back. Okay, there it is. That's one of them down. That is about to be the second. There we go. Okay, I don't think we took any damage, which is pretty huge in a room such as this.
Washed away as quickly as it swelled. That's emotions for you. The seas themselves are simpler to control.
Alright. What do we get from you? Start of an encounter, we do way more damage, or our charge moves also launch a wide wave ahead that knocks foes away. I mean, this is probably less significant for boss encounters, although we have, if we take this, a whole bunch of potential huge damage multipliers. If you have this, you have the darkness effect that we got from Zeus. We have the... at least one other thing along those lines. If all of those were able to overlap, which would be very difficult, but theoretically, if that were to be the case, and we were to use our hex within that window, mathematically speaking, it'd be a ginormous number. The problem is, in actuality, as I said, we would have Kronos just phase and probably mitigate a large chunk of that damage. So it is tempting, but at the same time, first 10 seconds in what is going to be a very long encounter against Kronos is actually not that big. I think we might still take it though. We do still have one reroll, and you could have maybe made the case for using it there, but okay, we've one more room, and this time it's going to have to make us progress to the next area, but I think that's okay, because we did manage to get a lot of value from taking on some optional enemies. That's a good opportunity for the leash, and this is a very good opportunity to do this. Unfortunately, the last wave of enemies, assumed to be the last wave of enemies, spawned in the other area. Please do not attack me. Excuse me. Ooh. Oh, that was 2 resistances wasted there. That's unfortunate. As I said, it is tough sometimes to avoid getting hit by those projectiles, especially when there are multiple of them. Both of them, last of them? Yes, okay. Something over here as well? No, just this. Alright, so now we have our super shop. And this is, in many ways, the moment we've been waiting for, with 4,000 plus gold. Double check. Anything else to use here? No? Okay. 4,000 plus gold. What can we buy? It could be good. It could be quite lackluster. It depends. Because one of the options is healing, which we do not need. One of the options is Hephaestus. We really want that. In fact, would have preferred for this to be a high rarity option. Super Palm, Magic, and then Crafting Resource. We should be able to get all these things. Also just dig this up while we're at it.
Good job.
Okay, so let's probably start with this.
Olympus, I accept this message.
So this is what we're gonna re-roll, if necessary. This is the same duo that we turned down before. They're like, no, really, please, Lids, take it. Okay, but these are the things we've been waiting the entire run to get. So your cast deals damage 3 times in succession to foes in the binding circle. So it's a little different than his other effects. Because rather than a single big blast, it's actually several. It's 3 times, so it's 240 in total, which is actually not that much. Oh, except it doesn't have a cooldown. The only cooldown is that you have to wait before you can recast your cast. But it's a lot quicker than 12 seconds. So this is less frequent, but much higher burst damage. Might be worth double-checking what exactly those bonus Hephaestus support boons are, and does one play along better with those than the others? We have the glow damage, which debuffs enemies. That should affect both of them equally. I mean, we do want to be more or less constantly hitting Kronos with those Hephaestus effects, so that might be the biggest factor, is which one can we most regularly hit him with. And the cast is limited to right on top of us, whereas the special does have more range. I might lean that way for that reason, but what? There's at least one more. I mean, then again, we get a double cast from... Oh yeah, now that does give us some range. We do get a double cast from our aspect. I think we have to do this. That was originally the thing that we were hoping to build the run around, and then it took us until the final shop, the penultimate room, before we were finally able to actually get what we were looking for. Okay, but then we can increase the damage per cast, and I think that's probably the best. It's definitely, of these options, the best thing for us to go for. Would have loved to have seen the extra option show up there.
Greater focus.
But no, only getting one, and then we could certainly buy this. I was hoping that would give us an extra one as well, and then we could have spent even more gold, but we aren't allowed to buy this. We still have almost 2,500 gold to spend, and that is after purchasing everything that we could, at least, have the option to purchase in this final shop. Come on, Charon, give me more things to buy.
Death to Kronos.
Also, if you could let me ride on the ship down here next time, that would be much appreciated. But okay, so here we go into the Kronos fight, and the Hex is going to be the key, but now we at least have a little bit more to work with from the cast. No special boon. We did pass up on a lot of them, so that is, by and large, of our own doing. But hopefully, along with all the other damage boosts that we have, we can get big chunks of damage, especially from that Hex.
You dare return?
Indeed.
You, with all that vengeance on your mind, claiming to care nothing for the family which I denied you. Good, because you certainly did not miss much. It cared nothing for our family either. Left me to rot. You are no different.
Yeah, I mean, the gods, in the original war between the Titans and the gods, did defeat Kronos by slicing him into little bits and pieces and throwing him down into the depths of Tartarus, which was the lowest part of the underworld, with the hopes of him never being able to reassemble and come back to power because he was such a pain in the butt. And that is also why you see those gold scars that go across his body. That's the evidence. That's the after effect.
You alone care deeply for our family, is that it? Come on, they left you to rot because you gave them every reason to hate you.
Ouch.
They sought power I refused to share. They have not worked for it. Perhaps if they asked nicely, none of this would have elapsed. But there is no undoing past mistakes.
Sounds pretty petty to me. Also remember, we have bonus damage at the very beginning, so we do want to be aggressive from the onset here. Don't go in that circle, though, because he will freeze us. Remember, he does start the encounter with less life because... what was it? Wait, is that what we ended up taking from Oak? From Hades? No, it wasn't, was it? Okay, this would be a good opportunity to hit him with the Hex, because that is one of the times when he is the most stagnant. However, I think we want to wait for him to phase, because he is close to half health, which is when he phases. The invulnerability. Don't stand there, though. Is this it? Ooh, that was close. Yeah, he must have now. Okay, now we can do multiple hits. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. Okay, so now I am waiting for him to go into a move where it's reliable for us to... Oh, that was bad. To throw the Hex out there. Namely this. Speaking of Blast, that's what I was thinking. Unfortunately, you were not there for the second one, though. Ratmen. Not a fan of them. 2... And I did not see what his third... Oh, hold on. He's on a different string of attacks. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's another good window. Oh. He does still hit you with the spinny effect. You are standing right on top of him, so I shouldn't have been that close. 2, 3. And I am saving the Hex now for this phase. Is that so? And he's gonna do that, but I can do this while he's charging it up. You're doing your big move, but so am I. I always mess this one up. I think you're supposed to not be in that, but then you are supposed to be in this. I don't get it. I guess that was correct, though. So we'll take it. Okay, these guys heal him. Potentially a lot at that. Ooh, hold on. That green that you're seeing right there, that's a heal effect. Dodge out. Dodge out. Oh, okay. That was almost very nasty. Excuse me. Oh, you're healing again. Please continue to stand there, though. Ooh, I got caught in the corner there, and you see how much health he got back there. So this is, I think, really the best time to hit him with the Hex. Oh, that was a bad place to stand. Very bad place to stand. Remember, the clock hands are generally one of the most important things for you to dodge, because he does do a lot of damage with those. Of course, we get the Hex back right when he's finishing up this phase. Not a great time for us to see that reappear. Waiting for the window. Benefit from... Okay, I think this is a good time. I don't know where we're supposed to stand for this. I always get it wrong. But same can be said for him. And down he goes. The Hex was just so strong there.
Some family you are. Go on and try to cast me out as they once did. See what good shall come of it.
I think we will.
I intend to. Though if you wished to be part of the family so much, perhaps you wouldn't have waged war with them.
Right.
With them, you say, not us. You too are a reject daughter of Hades. Always shall be, and always would have been.
Trying to get us to question our allegiance here, maybe?
You shall not succeed.
Well, we did on this run. There we go. Swimming in Gold is the title for this one, which is very true. So, it took a very long time for us to at least get the Hephaestus setup that we were looking for, and still didn't quite get it to the fullest extent we might have liked, but the fully upgraded Hex was still very powerful, and Prophecy Fulfilled, I think that was from completing a run with Hecuba, the doggo familiar. So we get another one of those resources from defeating Kronos, so we did keep things relatively light this time around, didn't throw on any of the difficulty modifiers, in part because we did want to check off some of those other things. But either way, mission accomplished, and we'll take a look at what the bonus bones weapon is, how much fear we'll have to have, which direction it wants to send us in for that stuff, and we'll figure out whether it makes sense for us to amp things up next time around. But for this, let's see.
The remains of time.
Those are the remains of Kronos. And now we proceed here.
Just as it was.
Just as it was. It was once upon a time Zagreus' room, but hold on.
The chambers of the missing underworld prince lie in a perpetual state of utter disarray, marked by the passage of time, but otherwise untouched. For who would dare?
I guess us.
Just as we surmised.
Okay. Now we know we can dream.
To the abyss of the subconscious I descend.
And in this dreamlike state,
Now the mirror.
we can access the mirror. And I am very intrigued
Guide me to my blood beyond the grasp of time.
to see what happens this time. Because this could be huge, and this is such a cool area. This is why I think Hypnos, the god of sleep, is going to be such a big factor later on.
Thought I had you there. I had you there. But weakening, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. What is he referring to?
Hello.
Hello.
Just as I'm about to get my hair under control, who are you and what have you done with my reflection? Only joking. I remembered everything just as you said. Particularly since you're here again so soon. Where were we?
I'm actually curious to see if he said that specifically because that was our last downward run when we made it here, and if we had failed a couple of times, had our run stopped short, then would he have still said that? Maybe not.
I was trying to persuade you to take me at my word that I'm your sister from a future time in which the Titan Kronos has usurped the House of Hades. I mean to stop him and require your assistance.
I have a wide variety of questions first, even knowing that our time apparently is limited. First off, why me? Although I am the designated security specialist around here, so perhaps I know the answer to that one.
Oh, I guess that's technically kind of sort of true. Although it is a valid question. There are a whole bunch of other gods and goddesses who are helping us to a certain extent, though at times not as directly and significantly as we might have liked.
Some security specialist. Kronos caught the house entirely off guard. But
Well
you're
done.
my closest kin. You've subverted the will of the fates before and slain gods, if not titans. I also lack the means of reaching anybody else this way.
Yeah, mostly that.
Well, great. I feel that strong kinship between us already. Next question. Where even is this Kronos, and what would you have me do if and when I locate him? A two-parter for you.
I don't know where Kronos is exactly in your time, though I mean to find out. I know only that his remains were scattered to the deepest pits of Tartarus, which means he's probably recovering somewhere near where you reside. As for what to do if you locate him, I can't yet say either.
Alright.
I hate to break it to you, Malinois, but this isn't all that comprehensive a plan. Especially for something you've been planning all your life. Do I
Ouch.
just wait for you to work through the details, or...?
But also, again, very fair. You know, it would be helpful if we had a little more direction there, a little more details.
No, look, you're a security specialist. Begin an investigation, though in absolute secrecy. Is anything amiss anywhere in the house or in Tartarus? Any unusual activity from satyrs, for example?
Okay, that's something.
We've had our share of safe problems, though not anywhere nearby. But I can have a look around. What about you? Wait, are you in my bedchambers?
Hold on.
What's left of them, yes. I can only reach you like this while we're in the same location across time. At any rate, I have to find the means for you to destroy the Titan there before he regains his full strength. But... blast.
Yeah, we're about to run out of time.
What is it? Do you have to go again? Then don't wait up on my account. I'll see what I can do and speak to you when next you haunt my dreams. Take care, sister. We'll sort this out.
Alright. Looks like we're starting to formulate a plan with Zagreus, and I was curious, obviously, very significant that we get the chance to speak with him, the protagonist of Hades 1, but wasn't clear what role exactly he was going to play. Obviously, he was going to help us to defeat Kronos in some way, shape, or form, but what made him different from any other god or goddess or other being that was assisting us along the way? So,
You make it sound so effortless. Farewell, brother. Until we see each other next.
I'm very curious to see how this plays out.
From mists of memory, return to shadow now.
Maybe time can be stopped.
It's only me again. Hey, when do I wake up?
Zagreus, I'm counting on you.
Alright. So it'll be interesting to see to what extent Zagreus makes progress while we're off doing our thing.
A satisfactory result that time, wouldn't you say?
Alright. Are we allowed to brood this time? We are, finally. Okay, all it is a sigh this time around. Usually there's a little more than just that, but it's a picture of the whole family.
Dora.
Oh, and we were thinking Dora might have a very important conversation here because we unlocked an incantation last time that theoretically meant she can now access her old memory that she had deliberately tried to block and may have gone through some kind of, like, drinking from a magical river that causes you to forget things that I wasn't really familiar with, but apparently that is a thing.
I remember everything. About why I forgot everything. I did something pretty bad, Mel.
Uh-oh. And yes, it seemed like she and Prometheus had maybe teamed up in some way and likely having something to do with Prometheus stealing fire from the gods and then introducing it to the humans, but what role exactly Dora played in that and why she may be in part to blame for that, that remains to be seen.
Whatever it was, you don't have to tell me. Unless, of course, you wish to. In which case, I'm listening.
Yeah, the thing is, I just kind of ruined everything for everyone. For everyone who's mortal, anyway.
Dora was a human initially, right? She must have been. I mean, she's a shade now. So it's not like she was a god, or it's not like she was a goddess or a titan or anything like that. Otherwise, she would not be currently in this form.
What are you talking about? That couldn't possibly be true.
Uh-oh. Was Dora a villain all along?
Well, imagine there was once this big storage jar, right? Like you'd keep pickles in, except
Pandora's box?
loaded it full of everything that could possibly go wrong. Hate, heartbreak, hair loss, halitosis. You name it.
Anything that starts with an H?
I'm not following. Why would all mortal vices and failings be placed within this particular jar? It sounds like you may be thinking of some sort of figurative representation.
Mm-hmm. What if this jar was a box?
No, it was a real jar with all that stuff, and well, I'm still shaky on the details. Let's chat about it more some other time. I'm beat.
Okay.
Whatever you like.
So, certainly more details from Dora, although there is still yet more to be learned, and that was a prophecy completed there, and I think an achievement as well for doing so.
So,
a few prophecies completed at that. This was in many ways, one that we were initially focusing on. We've now completed a run with all the various familiars. That gives us some more crafting resources. And then this one, Haunted by the Past. Well, that was Den Mother. But Haunted by the Past, the daughter of the god of the dead shall some evening compel one of her closest shade companions to remember that which she once chose to forget. Recover Dora's lost memories. So, although she has recovered them, she has yet to share them in their entirety with us, but I suppose that's still enough for this to count. So we'll take it. And then you can also hear someone who occasionally is here in the crossroads, and when she is, she oftentimes is singing.
Another victory.
Moonlight guide us home tonight.
Oh, what? I was referring to you. That's Artemis. But I did not expect some harmonization? From Eris?
So what's been going on with you and Kronos anyway? You keep beating him, but he keeps coming back.
True.
I like how pointless it seems, but there has to be more to it, right?
She's like, I'm all about the strife and everything, but at the same time, why are you doing it?
Come on, Eris. I'm not about to reveal the critical details of my task, especially to someone who had every opportunity to be part of it to begin with. Go about your business.
And who is instead trying to do everything she can to make our lives difficult.
How about you just give me a little hint? Are you planning to use his own powers against him? Break free our family members one by one? Anything like that?
Not telling you.
Mean.
Okay, nothing else over here. Let's pay a visit to Artemis. Speaking of harmonizing, we can do that.
Silently watching
Okay, I'm not going to sit here to listen to the whole thing, because we have seen this happen before. It's not our first time singing with Artemis, but let's see what she has to say.
Who is that shade across the river over there with all the parchment sacks? Never looks directly at me, but keeps glancing over as though it isn't obvious.
Oh, you must mean the record keeper, who's probably just intrigued by your beautiful song. And likely he's keeping meticulous track somewhere of each time you sing.
Oh, okay. So yes, this is not the first time we have seen and heard Artemis singing here and joined in with her as well, but it is really cool, and it is a great song as well. It's so peaceful.
Well, it's a good thing I am not self-conscious in the least.
That is good indeed. Good for you.
Hey, record keeper, this one's for you.
Oh. Curious if the record keeper, who is over here, looks any different than usual. That's him. He's smiling!
Hail, keeper.
Alright. And this is an optional NPC who you can unlock here, who gives you some statistics about your runs of various varieties, but I won't bore you with the details here. Okay. There's at least one or two other NPCs of that similar variety over there. Hello, Charon. Yes. Of course. We would also like to gift something to Dora, although what with our previous conversation being pretty significant, I doubt they're going to let us do additional stuff with Dora in this instance of the Crossroads. We get our Charon delivery, which gives us some Nightmare, which is really good, because we did not get any Nightmare directly from that previous run. We did not have enough fear.
Procure more moon dust.
But we got some there, and we could get more if we'd like. We picked up at least one Charon card from that run. In fact, it would have been really nice if we could have spent more money in that super shop at the end. Not only to make ourselves stronger, but also because we had 2,000 gold to spare, which would have been enough to get 2 more Charon cards. But no, this will have to do. So I think we will still take this, because this is the resource that you use to upgrade weapon aspects, and that is just so useful.
Good evening, broker.
And it makes it feel, at least, like you don't always have to set things up to give you the Nightmare on every single run if you're not feeling up for it for whatever reason. And also, picking up the extra bones helps on that front as well. But before we do that, let's just sell. We only had 1 fish on that run. Wow. But we can afford you, so we'll take it. And then sometimes we pick up these guys so we can more easily gift things to the people who we are trying to progress our relationship with. But I think Nectar in particular, we did pick up a few on this previous run, but that's something that you do need a whole lot of. So we'll nab some of that. We saw Nemesis very late on in that run, later than we'd ever seen her before, as I said. And so maybe it's not that much of a surprise that she's not here now.
Well done.
Oh, but remember, in the Hecate fight, Hecate had mentioned something about maybe some new incantation that we did not yet know about. Didn't say anything at the time to formalize, hey, you've unlocked this new crafting recipe, but it seemed as though upon returning back to town, we might learn that. So that may be what's about to happen here.
You brought the Titan low again. But what transpired after that? Was your bygone brother more cooperative than before?
Or this might take priority.
He doesn't know where to find Kronos, though seems willing to investigate. Perhaps he'll turn something up. I still scarce believe it's truly his past self I've spoken to.
Yeah, that also there's the whole time travel aspect, which is confusing, but I mean, we are dealing with Kronos, so there's going to be some time travel at some point, right?
Imagine how he feels. Continue to check up on him, but not a word of this to anybody else. Time flows ever forward, and we are not meant to travel opposite that stream.
Oh. Even when we're fighting time itself?
It shouldn't be possible.
We determine what is possible, Millinois.
Oh, so we can go backwards. Alright. So I was kind of hoping that she might have revealed how we craft this stuff. We would still need more Zodiac Sand before we'd even have the ability to get it, though, so we're still a ways away on that front. We could potentially craft a little more of this stuff if we really wanted to. We did use one of these, and now that we have picked up a little more nectar, maybe we feel a little bit better about loading up on these guys.
Of beasts. Now simmer away.
So we'll do that. No Odysseus either. Where is everybody? one over here. Pick this up. And this takes so long to grow that even after a full-length run, it still wasn't ready. We'll plant our other stuff. Prioritizing the things that are rarer. I think this is the least rare. So we'll save you guys. Okay. Anything else from you? We're doing more dream-related stuff.
We'll sort this out.
Still no update on Hypnos. I think that's everything here. Unless we're about to get something unexpected here, but that's usually pretty uncommon.
I, for one, was certain she'd prevail.
But we can, of course, still chat with Skelly.
Commander, there must be something you could tell me of my brother. The stronger my connection, the better our chances. You knew him, didn't you?
Perhaps.
I knew your brother, yeah. Good kid most of the time. He wouldn't want you to be so hung up about him. What he'd want, more than anything, I think, is for you to hit me as hard as you can, repeatedly and often, and that's what I would want for you as well.
That's so touching. Also, strong Joker vibes.
Very well.
I mean, you leave us no choice.
That stick has got some heft.
And then this is one of the shades that we specifically got from that previous run.
Please make yourself at home.
He looks a little different than the usual shades, as he has a bit of a scarf. Or is that a chain tied around his neck? I hope not. I hope not. Okay, for his sake. So that was another successful run, and it means we're getting closer to perhaps resolving this dispute, finally defeating Kronos, but still a ways to go on that front. Next time, we'll figure out, what is the bonus weapon. Apparently it's the skull, even though we've done that fairly recently. So, we'll investigate, we'll check that out, we'll see how much fear and which direction it would want us to go in and decide if that is something we want to do, or if we just want to go with, well, whatever we feel like going with. But either way, this is the right time for us to wrap things up. So thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next time.